deep dive into the Twilight Zone movie and original TV series with my friend Mark Brown on this episode of the Movies Past and Present podcast. Hello and welcome to the Movies Past and Present podcast. It's August 24th, 2024, and this is episode 126. I'm your host, Stanford Clark, and I'm podcasting from the crossroads of the West in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. Just like my website, moviespastandpresent.com, I'll be providing recommendations, commentary, and reviews about current and classic cinema. Thanks for tuning in, and let's do this thing. My good friend Mark Brown joins me on the podcast today for a deep dive into some serious science fiction. We are going to discuss The Twilight Zone, both the 1983 film, along with the classic TV anthology series that played on the CBS television network from 1959 to 1964, which inspired the film. So let's get right into it. Here is my conversation with my buddy Mark Brown. I'm joined by my good friend Mark Brown. Hello, Mark.
Hey, Stanford. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thanks again for having me on your show.
Well, I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm here too.
So, Mark, we have been talking about this for months. So we're finally going to talk about the Twilight Zone. But typically, as you know, we talk about movies on my podcast, and the Twilight Zone was a movie, but the movie was based on a series, a really classic television series that ran from 1959 to 1964. And you have this. Why don't you tell us about your distinct honor, Mark, with the television series?
Well, I want to thank you, first of all, for doing this, because basically I had always wanted to watch the Twilight Zone series, and I got an opportunity to do so when I had a Paramount Plus subscription, I guess last year or maybe a year plus ago. And I really enjoyed the show, and I wanted to talk about it with somebody. And I thought of you all of a sudden, because none of I have two blogs. One is animation blog and one is a Disney live action blog. So neither of the two blogs would have been appropriate to talk about this on. And I didn't have my own podcast either to talk about this on. So I said, hey, whose podcast can I hijack and force them to talk about this with me? I said, hey, Stanford, I'm sure he won't mind. So I think we talked about it. We had met up actually in Florida, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's when I mentioned it to you, and you were more than willing and happy to do so. So thanks for agreeing to review the show with me and the subsequent movie. And I'm finally glad we're able to get to it.
I am too, Mark. Thank you so much for the great idea and for taking the time. And I should say, Mark, with his Paramount Plus subscription, as you mentioned, he's watched all 156 episodes of the Twilight Zone TV series, which, dude, is impressive. I have not watched all of them, but I've watched many, enough that I felt like I could have an educated conversation with you. And that was really the delay, from when when you initially pitched this idea to putting it together, because it's a lot of episodes, 5 seasons.
No, it's a lot. It's 5 seasons, 150 episodes. It's the Twilight Zone was such a big hit that they tried to remake the series 3 times after that. Once in the 80s, once in the 2000s, and once recently in the 2020 that era. And the first one is still the most famous one and the most successful one and the one with the most episodes. So.
What happened with some of these TV reboots, Mark? I mean, I vaguely remember, that they existed.
So after I finished watching this series, which I guess my opinion on this series is I do enjoy it overall. It's a very good series, and for many people, it's one of their favorite television series of all time, and I can see why. So then I decided to watch the '80s series and the 2000 series. The '80s series, in my opinion, it's not as good as the '60s. It's kind of a mixed bag. Some of the episodes are good, and I do enjoy them. Some are not that great. They some of the episodes are like long, like 3 episodes put together for like an hour plus episode, and some are like usual half-hour episodes. So these ones kind of a mixed bag, but there are some I do enjoy. Them the 2000s, the 2000s show is that one's kind of a piece of trash, to be honest with you.
It was rough.
Yeah, that one was rough. Yeah, that one only lasted one season, I think, and Forrest Whitaker was the Rod Serling character on that show. Um, I probably liked, maybe I could tolerate like 10 episodes maybe on that show. And one of the weird things is the reason I could tolerate that is because a good number of episodes on that version were remakes of episodes from this original 60s series. And even one sequel, which I'll probably mention later on in the show. So yeah, I would not recommend the 2000s version for anybody. And the 2021, I haven't seen that yet, so I can't comment on
Okay.
that.
Did you watch the 80s one and the 2000 one? Was it on Paramount Plus as well?
No, but surprisingly enough, they were on YouTube. Someone had uploaded
Oh,
all
okay.
all the episodes on YouTube for free, and
Score.
I said thank you when I watched it. I think they could still find them there because I'm pretty sure there. I don't think like there's very high policing of the copyright for those two
For
versions.
those two, yeah.
But this show, the Twilight Zone, the '60s one, this was hard to find. Like only until I got the Paramount Plus subscription was
Yeah.
I able to watch it. This is really hard to find clips on like YouTube and stuff.
And as you mentioned, really, a revered series, a classic series that just a
Correct.
lot of people love, and that's probably part of it, right? They're very protective,
Yeah.
uh, but as they should be, because I mean, it's outstanding. So, however, though, your gateway into the Twilight Zone, storytelling was this Twilight Zone movie. It was called Twilight Zone the movie. It came out in 1983. When did you see it, and what was your experience with this film? And
Yeah.
then I want to talk with you about the kind of the plot and layout of this film.
Sure. Yeah. If I'm remembering correctly, I think this was my introduction to Twilight Zone overall. Besides, I'm a big Disney fan, so I know that there's a ride called Twilight
Yes,
Zone
the
through the
Twilight
Tower
Zone
of
Tower of
Terror.
Terror
Yeah.
at
I've never
Disney's
been on
Hollywood
it.
Studios, which we
Uh,
love. Yeah.
yeah, I don't do drops, so
That's
I've never been.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. But I hear you.
Yeah.
I get it.
So like I had heard of Twilight Zone. I was aware of Twilight Zone because of that mostly. But yeah, this movie was the first thing that I saw that uh kind of was my introduction to it. I think I might have seen one episode of the 2000s version before I saw this, but I'm not counting that because that was just a random one-off thing. But yeah, this movie was pretty much my introduction to Twilight Zone. Um, I watched this about I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. I don't think it wasn't very long before I watched the Twilight Zone series, and
Okay.
it was an interesting, just like the Twilight Zone series is an anthology, series. Every episode is a different story. This was like a compilation film of pretty much 4 episodes, and it gave me an interesting idea of what to expect from Twilight Zone. And overall, I did enjoy it. And I guess we'll talk about each of the 4 stories. But yeah, that was my first impressions of the film, I guess.
So you did enjoy the film. Was uh, I, initially, at least when you watched it,
I would say so, yes.
okay, enough to get like kind of spike your curiosity to like hunt down the series.
Correct. Yeah, it wasn't like like I wasn't in love with the movie, but it was
Sure.
fine enough.
Well, so let's dive into this movie a bit. So, this movie, as you mentioned, was released in 1983, and basically it's 4 remakes of 4 Twilight Zone episodes,
Correct.
and directed by notable directors of the time. There's John
Correct.
Landis, Steven Spielberg, Joe Dante, and George Miller.
Yeah, that's a foursome you wouldn't expect nowadays.
Seriously, I mean, really, like heavy hitters. And
Very much.
I can't say I know a ton about the making of the film, but I would, surmise that all 4 of these directors were really influenced by the Twilight Zone because they were most likely, kids, right?
And
Or at least, they watched it on TV.
correct.
Uh,
And it also harkens back to the original Twilight Zone series, where some directors who are famous now actually directed in their early career. They directed some
Yes,
episode of that, like Richard Donner, for
Richard
example.
Donner, which I can't wait. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about Richard Donner too. Yeah, who directed one of my favorites. I guess spoiler alert. We'll
Well, we'll
get
get
to
to that.
that.
Yeah,
So this movie again has these four separate stories, and each one is almost as if it's an episode of the Twilight Zone. Um,
correct.
the It also has a prologue that was directed by John Landis. So the film starts with this kind of funky road. It's like two friends on a road trip, and these actors are played by Albert Brooks and Dan Aykroyd. What did you think of that prologue scene?
Well, once I saw Dan Aykroyd, I was like, yeah, this was an '80s movie because he's in it.
Yeah, he's
What I
such an iconic '80s actor. Yeah,
what I remember, it's them arguing about, it's just different, either different episodes or one particular episode of To the Twilight Zone that they found the scariest, and I think they were debating whether it was actually from the Twilight Zone or from another similar anthology series like Outer Limits or whatnot. And I think it ends with one of them turning into a monster and killing killing the other.
yeah, yeah. Again, we'll be giving lots of spoilers on this if you haven't
Oh
seen
yeah,
these
yeah.
shows.
Don't listen to
But
this episode if you
yeah,
don't
it's
want.
Albert Brooks. If I'm not mistaken, Albert Brooks is driving the car, and Dan Aykroyd turns into the monster, and then ends up killing him.
And,
So
if my memory serves correct, that prologue itself is not a remake of any episode of the original
yeah,
Twilight Zone.
it's just original, like a way to introduce the film, and
Mhm.
the Dan Aykroyd character shows up
Yeah,
later, which we'll get to. But I thought that prologue was interesting in that it sets the tone. It's funny but scary.
yeah.
Uh,
So the scares are definitely more '80s than like this show would have been.
yeah, and it also though in a way it seemed a little out of place to me just because
I could see that
I
too.
well again uh they probably figured they had to do something because of given just the different nature of the film, because the Twilight Zone was each episode was its own self-contained story. It never had like none of the stories like had a sequel, you know what I mean, or like continuation of characters or a continuation of the story. They were all self-contained. So in a way, to me, it seemed a little out of place. But honestly, the most thing that seemed out of place was that there was no Rod Serling, and then clearly, Rod Serling had passed
Correct.
away. He was alive, to be in the show. Instead, they used Burgess Meredith. Is that right? Does that sound right to you, Mark? Isn't that
Was
wasn't
it
he the
Burgess Meredith?
narrator?
I can't remember.
I'll
Not
have
off the
to
top of
look
my
it up.
head.
I
Mhm.
believe it was Burgess Meredith who narrates it, and I think they might have used some Rod Serling,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
audio.
Burgess Meredith did take over the narrator role.
But honestly, the whole time, I mean, speaking of the Disney World ride, I was wishing because they were able to get a good um, Rod Serling impersonator. you know,
Yeah,
they used some footage of Rod Serling, and then they inserted it to this to introduce the story in the attraction. But Rod
yeah.
Serling was such a presence, which again we'll get into with the TV show. But I kind of miss that,
It
in
did
this
kind of miss
movie.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess they were thinking, like if that happened now, someone would probably say, "Oh, let's make like a CG version of Rod Serling or
Oh
something."
yeah,
But
good point.
back then, I guess they figured, no one could really replace Rod Serling. They
Right.
probably didn't
So
want to
they
go
just they
the
went with
Burgess
Burgess,
Meredith, who was
who's
a good
got a
choice because he's appeared, I think, in 4 episodes of the
yeah,
original Twilight.
he was in episodes of the Twilight, which again was cool. I thought, just so you see some of these actors that we know well or recognize that were in episodes of the Twilight Zone.
I think that was
Uh,
one of my favorite things with the show was going through each episode and saying, "Oh, look, see who appeared
yes.
more than once." Because there's a lot of actors who appeared like twice and thrice, and then there's like a couple that
Yes.
did 4 times. So
So I'm excited to dive in with that to you, Mark. So this very first story. So there's the prologue that was directed by John Landis, the whole Albert Brooks, Dan Aykroyd, and then we get into this first uh, story, which is a remake, sort of. It's not. It's not really this. It doesn't completely follow the story, but thematically it does. Back There, which is from season two. It's season two, episode 13. Uh, but it's about this racist man who's played by the actor Vic Morrow,
Mhm.
who gets sent back in time, and he actually becomes the victim of the bigotry and the racism. Uh, tell me what you thought about this first story in the movie.
Like you said, it's a somewhat remake of Back There, but it also has elements of another episode called Equality of Mercy, in which there's like a, I think there's a Japanese army and American army fighting each other, and one of the lieutenants, I forget if it's the Japanese or the Americans, he's like very like zealous and wants to fight, and then he ends up like swapping places with the enemy, and he becomes in the other person's shoes. So there's an element of that in this as well. But this episode, it was, I wasn't like, it was like my favorite, but I mean, it did what it was trying. It told the story that it was trying to tell. This racist guy who goes accidentally goes back in time and then relives different past where other minorities are living, and he's experiencing the bigotry, like you said. Um, and I think that overall is the gist of this first part. But the tragic part of this, this first story is probably what the movie's most famous for, which is,
Yes, yeah.
I guess we can get into it now if you want.
Please, please.
It,
Let's, tell us
it's
what you know about it.
Yeah, from what I understand, there was a scene where his character goes back into, I think it's like Vietnam during the Vietnam
It's
War,
Vietnam, yeah.
and there was an accident with the helicopter that accidentally decapitated Vic Morrow and killed two children that he had with him. It was
Oh,
one of the biggest, one of the, I think it was a really shocking uh, death, like on production death in Hollywood's film at the time.
yeah.
And
Just
it's probably
horrible,
it's what
tragic.
yes, it's what, like, most people haven't seen the film, but they would know that about this film. That's like it's overshadowed the film that much.
Yeah, I'm so, yeah. Um, that's what I remember, Mark, is that the accident, the
Yeah.
death, just the horrific death of Vic Morrow and these children, just marred, the release of this film.
Mhm.
It still got released, but you
It
just,
definitely, yeah, left a mark.
yeah, oh, absolutely. And I think it really left a mark on the director John Landis too.
I
I mean,
think, yeah, I think I read something about that too. Yeah.
working and stuff, but just imagine just living with that. It's just horrible. Uh,
and and Vic Morrow gave a really great performance, I thought, in this. Like, I thought he played
I
his character
do.
really
Yeah, he was really compelling, and it was uh, scary, right? I mean, I guess because that's the point, but also he like one of the things that I just loved about a lot of the Twilight Zone episodes, which I know we'll be talking about, but some of these real jerks get their comeuppance.
yeah,
And it's just, it's kind of satisfying in its own kind of tragic way. um
yeah. I think there are some episodes where the evil kind of wins in quotation mark, but yeah, there's a lot of episodes where, I used to say, the jerks get their comeuppance.
yeah, yeah. uh okay, so after uh Back There, right, the back, I believe that they call that first one Time Out, but it's just because it's not like a remake. But that was interesting to know about. You said how it has components of two episodes. The rest of the rest of the three left in the film all really, I think, follow the storylines of the episodes.
Yeah, those are like real remakes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because those are episodes that I watched too. That I in my watching the show. Because so let's start with the second one. That's called Kick the Can, and it's directed by Steven Spielberg,
Good old Spielberg, like,
which was so cool to me. To see a film, and again, kind of early in his career. Given that this film came out in the early '80s, but Boy, you see it instantly, and you can just tell it's a Steven Spielberg film,
Yeah.
can't you?
Mhm.
What did
But
you think? What did you think of Kick the Can
I
in the
like,
movie?
I like this one. The story is there's a retirement home with a lot of elderly people who are living their lives and reminiscing about their youth and whatnot, and then another old man, comes to live with them, and uh, basically, I think what happens, if I'm not mistaken, is that at nighttime he plays games with the other residents, and the games actually involves them transforming into their childhood selves. Um, and this, like you said, is a remake of this episode of the same name, Kick the Can, where the same thing happens in the original show.
It's a charming. It's really a charming and very Steven Spielberg esque. Thing again. I thought everything from just from, of course, the camera shots and the lighting, the performances, as these older characters then turn young. As you said, they revert back to their younger selves, and they're played by child actors, right? I mean, and so
But the old
um,
actors are like some like if you're if you like movies and shows from the 70s and 80s, there are a lot of like faces you recognize, like Scatman Crothers.
Scatman Crothers, yeah.
And,
He was,
uh,
yeah, and some, as you mentioned, these other actors that I recognize, but uh, it's fun, and of the four in this Twilight Zone, the movie, definitely the one the lightest in tone, right? It's again, it's almost like you're watching ET or something, right? I mean, it's fanciful and light and optimistic.
it's the most hopeful of the four.
Yeah, yeah, and a real, because I think one of the many cool things about the Twilight Zone series is that it's just like this kind of sci-fi fantasy, and sometimes it goes into a horror direction, but sometimes it kind of goes into this fantasy direction, and that's I appreciate that they had some different kind of a balance of types of stories, even though they were all very much in the the Twilight Zone realm. Um,
It fits it perfectly, like you said,
yeah, yeah,
because like the show is, like you said, it's mostly sci-fi and stuff, but there's always a couple episodes here and there that are like more cheery, I guess, and
yes,
more optimistic. So it does well. 1 out of 4 for the
right. Okay, now for something completely different, we get "It's a Good Life,"
it's a good
which
play.
again is a remake. That was from. I should say that "Kick the Can" was from season 3 of the original Twilight Zone, season 3, episode 21. "It's a Good Life" was also from season 3, it's episode 8. But for the movie, Twilight Zone the movie, it was directed by Joe Dante. Now,
Yes. If I actually just watched Gremlins for the
I was
first,
just going to ask you if you've seen Gremlins, because I just felt like this was so Gremlins esque. This Twilight Zone episode.
now,
What did you
now
think of this?
now that I've seen Gremlins, I could actually see that in this film, but in
Yeah.
this episode. But yeah, like I haven't seen Gremlins only until like I said 2 or 3 days ago. So this is a
Oh,
apt time.
nice. Oh, outstanding, outstanding, Mark. So, what did you think of this segment of the film?
So this, like you said, is a remake of an episode called "It's a Good Life" from the original series, and it's not exactly the same, but it's in essence, it's pretty much the same. But this is episode that most people, well, a lot of people say is like the best Twilight Zone episode, or it's like in their top 5 or 10 or something. And it is kind of a scary episode. It's about a kid who
Oh,
has
it's
this
so
like,
creepy.
yeah, creepy. Yeah, he has this like power and ability to pretty much wish anything. He could will anything into existence. He could will anything out of existence. And his parents and all the adults are scared of him because of that, because he could wish. What he does is like he wishes people into the cornfield, which is, they never see them again after that. Are they
Yeah,
dead?
it's like he kills him.
So
Yeah,
they always want to make sure that he's always happy, and he could also read their mind. So even if they're pretending to be happy, but he knows that they're actually not happy, he plays with that too. So yeah, it's a really creepy episode. So this. In this movie, they kind of do the similar thing. It's also about a boy who has this ability to will anything, and he wants everything to be done the way he wants. In this episode, they have a him meet a school teacher, looking who's going to a new job, and he takes her home with him to meet his family, and that's when she sees like something's not right with this family. Like they're all kind of doing whatever he wants, and they're kind of scared of him. And then little by little, she understands that oh he pretty much just wants everything his own way and whatnot. But this segment kind of ends a little happier than the original show, because
Yeah.
it kind of ends with like her, like, I guess, empathizing with him and seeing that he just wants love and whatnot. So she kind of like adopts him and takes him away, and I don't know, it ends happily, I guess, something like that.
Yeah, it has this really happy
Yeah.
ending about it, which is not the way, the TV episode ends. The TV episode to me seemed like the adults were all just terrified of this kid, right? And then in this one, this Joe Dante directed one for the movie, it's almost like, I mean, the kid clearly was scary, but it was almost like the adults were bad too. You know what I mean? Like the adults were not just, I mean, they were afraid of him, but it seems like the adults also were less than desirable. That this kid just needed like an adult in his life that he could tell that loved him.
Yeah, that actually just, you explained it really well there. Yeah.
And the school teacher's played by Kathleen Quinlan, who I love. I think she's just such a lovely actress, and she does a good job. She does a good job in this. But it's, Joe Dante really. I mean, the reason that it felt Gremlins-esque is that it just kind of has this real horror tinge to it, I think, as well, and a lot of like weird stuff is going on too, right? That the kid conjures up,
It's like
right?
horror, but also like it's like a playful horror, like Gremlins kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it reminds me almost like of Beetlejuice or something, like Tim Burton kind of
Mhm.
stuff,
I haven't seen Beetlejuice yet,
as
but
well.
I get the idea.
Yeah, um, but it's interesting. And then yes, and then when the kid is able to go off with this teacher, they drive off, and he conjures up, a beautiful sunny, sunny sky and flowers, right? And all these flowers are going on the road as they're driving by. So it's an interesting that TV episode is it's a good one too.
I,
It's super creepy.
I think that also like the adults in his life, like you're mentioning, they I guess these ones were more like fed up with him more than
Yeah,
terrified.
that's a good way to
So,
put it.
so like they couldn't wait to get out of his grip and like leave. So I guess that's another thing that scared him, because that these people don't really want to be with me and they want to leave.
Yeah, like like this kind of fear of abandonment, huh?
Yeah,
That
yeah, something like that.
yeah,
And the family is played by like there's some very good actors like Kevin McCarthy, William
yeah,
Shatner, and funny enough, Nancy Cartwright, the voice
yeah.
actress herself,
Nancy
uh,
Cartwright,
in the early
random.
role.
Well, and in
Even,
the TV one, it's Cloris Leachman
yes, she plays the mother in it.
is in it. Yeah, which is kind of fun. She plays the
So,
mother.
so like I mentioned earlier in the introduction, that the 2000s version of the show did some remakes and of previous episode and sequels. This is an episode that they actually did a sequel of in that version. So, the boy, played again by Bill Mummy, actually grows up. He's an adult now, and he has his own daughter who has the same power that he does. And Cloris Leachman is also comes back in that episode. And
Oh
when
wow!
Bruce Leachman's character finds out that the daughter has this ability, and she gets a little ray of hope that maybe we could actually use her to like
Get rid of
get rid of
it.
him once and for all, so they could stop living in fear. I don't want to. I don't know if I should spoil how this ends,
No,
but
I
I mean,
think you should. But and
I should.
also, I misspoke, Mark, because again, you're the pro. I'm only the novice, really, with
No,
this.
no,
But
no.
I is that the only storyline that had more than one episode that you're aware of, or I mean, I mean, hello, you would know, you saw them all, but
That's the only one I know of that's a sequel.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
interesting, cool, okay,
but like I said, there were a couple of remakes too. But yeah, as a sequel, I think that's the only one. Yeah. So how it ends is the daughter kind of backstabs the her grandma and all that because like she loves her dad so much, so she ends up actually banishing Cloris Leachman into the
Into
cornfield.
the cornfield.
Yes. So then she and her
It's
dad get to live
creepy.
together. Yeah, and I think everyone else too. So it's just her and her dad at the end. So they get to you know, live together happily with each
Happily.
other. And Bill Mummy's real daughter, he plays his daughter in that episode.
Oh, that's fun. Okay,
So,
that's cool.
and speaking of Bill Mummy, he's also in this episode in the show in the
Yeah,
movie. Yeah,
right. So I mean, this one I think of all of them really felt like. I mean, even though they really go different with the plot, but it feels like an homage, to
yeah.
it.
There are two episodes of the Twilight Zone that are like people always remember, and this is one of them. So they definitely had to do this one in their movie, and the other one is the one in the segment 4, which we'll get to.
Right, which we're going to get to. So the segment 4, which is I think probably the most famous
Mhm.
episode, right, as you mentioned, of the TV show, is Nightmare at 20,000 Feet,
Yeah.
which is from season 5, episode 3. This,
Speaking of gremlins,
yeah, exactly. Directed by George Miller, starring
no.
John Lithgow, right? Um, Tell us, what's your thought on this fourth segment in the movie?
So this is an episode that I'm not that big on it like other people are. I don't dislike it, but it's like it's not for some, like I said, this is like their favorite episode or their top 10 or whatever, but it's not that high for me. But it's about a man in the show. The original show was actually William Shatner
William
plays
Shatner, yeah,
the guy, and he goes like I think he has a fear of heights as well and a fear of flying, so he goes in a plane, and he's the only one who could actually see a quote unquote gremlin on the plane actually messing around
yeah. You
with
see him
people
on the outside of the plane on the wing,
on the
right?
wing.
Yeah,
And no one else can see this. He does. So everyone thinks he's just like panicking and having a panic attack or whatnot. Long story short, at the end of the episode, they actually realize that a whole bunch of wires have been pulled out from one side of the plane. It's like, oh, maybe there was something there, and whatever. But so then this segment in the movie is a remake of that. With John Lithgow playing William Shatner's character, and it's pretty much the same. But I would say, this one's actually longer than that. The episode was like half an hour less than that. I think this segment was a bit longer than that, and the gremlin is more scary looking in this than in the show.
yeah, yeah. The Gremlin was scary, and George Miller, again, director of the Mad Max movies, right?
Yes.
And Happy Feet. Go figure.
Oh wow,
One
I
of these
forgot.
things is not like the other, but he does an effective job, I think, kind of recreating the horror of it, that in a more modern way of the time period, right? From and also just like the bigger special effects budget or whatever. Um, they changed the storyline a little bit, which I know we can get into because I do have Nightmare at 20,000 Feet in my list.
Nice.
That we're gonna get to. But it in the TV show, William Shatner's character's wife is taking him home. He had a nervous breakdown,
Oh,
and
okay.
he had been in a sanatorium, and so she's bringing him home, and so he already is recovering from having a real mental crisis, and then this starts happening to him on the plane. So it just kind of adds to the suspense and horror of it all. You're like, is he just having another breakdown, or is this really happening, or what's going on? So yeah, so when it gets revealed that it actually did happen, that was interesting. Although then in the movie, it takes a really dark, an extra dark twist too at the end, right,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
it's revealed that Dan Aykroyd, who we saw in that prologue, uh,
yeah.
yeah, how he turned into that creature. Well, he was the creature that was on the airplane, and he's driving the ambulance that
Well,
John
I
Lithgow's character's
totally
in.
forgot
So
about
he's not. His fate is not. Things aren't going to go well.
that.
You don't,
And
you don't see it, right? Is it just the ambulance kind of drives off? Isn't that
yeah,
how you remember it too, Mark?
yeah. I didn't remember that part at all, actually. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
great way to end it. But his wife Donna Dixon is actually in this episode too.
Oh yeah, that's
Mhm.
right. Is
Yeah.
she a flight attendant or a
She,
passenger? I can't
she's one of the
remember.
flight attendants.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So, what did you think then of this? Did you like this George Miller? remake
I
of the
felt
story.
this felt a little longer than this episode needed to be. I think that the original episode was like the right length for this story.
Yeah,
So I think, and also I don't think John Lithgow was the best replacement for William Shatner. I mean, not that I knew William Shatner did this before when I saw this the first time, but
sure, sure.
now when I'm comparing, like I don't know, I feel John Lithgow wasn't the right person to cast in this role.
Yeah. So, Mark, overall, what were your impressions then of Twilight Zone, the movie?
Well, we're at the end already. Yeah. Overall, it was. I it was a good experience because, like we mentioned, this is what kind of fueled me into like, oh, okay, I really want to watch the show now. And actually, the fact that this movie came out in the '80s, this is what actually led to the '80s version of the Twilight Zone, which I talked about already. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, this movie was, while not, probably not like a super duper big hit, but I think it made a good it made like a decent amount of money. Um, it was definitely important.
I, you know, you and I had opposite experience with this film, Mark, in that I watched, a big chunk of episodes of the TV show before I watched the film.
Okay, yes,
And
that would be
so
different.
so we just kind of did it opposite. But although I was very aware of the film, mostly because of what we talked about, that
Yeah,
horrible helicopter, that tragic helicopter accident. Uh, but uh, as I mentioned, the whole time I mean I missed Rod Serling
yes,
and and I just even though I have mad respect for Burgess Meredith, and it was a good choice in that he has history with the show, right, with the original TV series. So that was a thoughtful choice. But I still think, dang, I wish they could. I missed the Rod Serling intros, and I just didn't think that any of these directors, who are all I think very fine directors,
yeah,
really nailed their job. I mean, even Steven Spielberg's, to me, even it seemed very Steven Spielberg-esque, and there was stuff I really
hmm,
enjoyed about it. But I guess I was just comparing it to the original, to
yeah.
the episode from the TV show, and I just didn't think that any of them really matched up. Uh, maybe I'm being too critical, but that was again just my experience with it because I had.
I think you're right, and I think it's also yeah, I think it's also the challenge of making a movie based on a show, but especially
Yes,
one that's an anthology show. I think
yeah,
there's a lot of obstacles there, and also like we said, these directors are famous now, but like for most of them, this was like still early in their
this is
careers.
early in their careers for sure. Yeah, oh, absolutely. So, really, really good point. And now look at them now. They've all gone continue to do great work. And
So I guess a question I have for you is if they do like Fantasia 2000, they make another Twilight Zone the movie for a
yes,
new age,
Twilight Zone 2025, the movie.
2025, which I don't know if I should ask this now or after we talk about the episodes, but I guess my question was going to be which four episodes would you want them to remake for that, and two, which directors would you want to direct them?
Oh, that's a great question. Uh, so
Kind of just
you
sprung an
know,
idea, but here we go.
no, I'm glad you did. I got to tell you, in a way, I feel like I have to do some homework, or maybe I could just do some googling here. But I would almost want to hire some like serious horror directors. And the challenge is for me, Mark, is I'm not much of a consumer of horror movies. I uh, I have seen the most recent Alien film because I've seen all the Alien movies, and it's super scary. So honestly, but that was the first uh, director that came to mind, and his name is I'm just looking it up because um, it's not his name's Fede Alvarez,
Okay.
and he directed this film called Don't Breathe. He directed another horror film. I think it's called The Girl in the Spider Web. Anyway, uh, he he did such a fine job with that film. It's a real tribute to the original Alien by that Ridley Scott directed that came out in 1979. But anyway, honestly, he's the first one that came to mind. I thought he just because he could pick a story, and remake it. Um, and I, of course, always love anything from Steven Spielberg, even though I didn't
Oh yeah, we
particularly
could bring him back. Yeah.
bring him back. Have him have him come back. I think someone maybe like J.J. Abrams would be interesting because he's got a real TV sensibility. I think too with his TV experience, and that could and he knows how to tell a good story. More often than not. I won't really blame him for that
Yeah,
horrible Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker film, but we're not talking Star Wars. That's for another time. And then, boy, uh, I'm not sure who else comes to mind. I do have a bunch of episodes, and I think honestly, any of the 13. So we've each picked 13 episodes. You and I, and we're going to go over these now.
favorite
Uh,
episode.
but I think any of these, there might be a couple, and maybe I'll point them out as we get to them. That for sure I would be very interested in a modern retake. How about you? What would you think?
My only hesitancy with the modern remake, which you kind of alluded to, is I feel if they would want to make it more horror, and I think you can get like
Yes.
it'll be very you can get an R rating with like maybe like
Yeah.
gore and stuff like that. Which as the original Twilight Zone episodes were very scary, but they're more psychologically scary, and
Yes.
even though the horror ones they still weren't like grisly and gory and stuff. That
Right. They were not R rated. If anything, they'd be maybe a PG-13. But it's still though it was just really great storytelling and just really great just craftsmanship with it. Because they weren't relying like on gore and that was kind of horror movie tropes.
See if they're able to do that, I would be fine with it. I'd maintain maybe like a PG-13 level or something. That'd
Yeah. Did
be
you have
just
any
like
directors that you would like to see
well,
living directors
yeah,
work
I'm
on
just
it?
thinking off the top of my head, but well, you mentioned Spielberg. I'd like to see him back. I think Ron Howard would be interesting. I
Oh
know
yeah,
he's never really done horror, but I mean I think he has I mean he has Star Wars for sci-fi, but I think
absolutely.
he did he do Contact or was that Spielberg?
No, I'm not sure he
That,
did Contact. We should let's look. I'm looking it up, but
but anyway, I think Ron
it,
Howard would be interested. And
I
Robert
think the
Robert
Contact was Robert Zemeckis.
Okay, but
And Robert
he
Zemeckis could be
he was
good.
my third one too.
Yeah.
And my fourth, I don't I don't know who I'd pick for the fourth. I'd have to think about it, but
I
those
know,
three.
it's exactly. You posed such a good question though, Mark. Something to think about. So, as I mentioned, we each have just kind of compiled because there are 156 episodes of the original over 5 seasons. Each one of these, most of them were 30 minutes, but I think is it season 4 where they were kind of like more like 50 minutes or closer to an hour.
Season four, they decided to make them hour long, 50 something minute episodes,
Yeah.
and cut the number of them in half. So usually each season had like 30 something episodes. That
Yeah.
season like 18.
So, but what was so amazing to me with the many episodes that I saw, and where I've been very anxious to get your opinion on this too, Mark. I was so impressed with the creativity in each one of these,
Oh my gosh, that
and
was
also the craftsmanship because I think so many, again, they're working on kind of like TV style budgets and technology and sets, and a lot of it reminded me of like film noir movies of the 40s and the 50s in that they were just so creative with their the use of camera angles and lighting, uh, and just so I was so impressed. This show, you helped me face some fears, Mark, because uh, as well, my initial exposure to the Twilight Zone TV show was as a child was it would be on TV and it would often come on like late at night, and there's this some of those episodes that's really scary, right? And so I just wasn't equipped for it. I was too young to appreciate. And then also the music's, the theme song is creepy, and the floating eye and stuff, and then that field of stars, all those visuals. And then Rod Serling also is not someone you just like want to go up and give a hug to. I mean, he's just kind
It's
of,
really, yes,
kind of
yeah.
a scary dude. However, though, once I finally, kind of conquered some of that as I was watching, more of these episodes, I just am so impressed with the creativity of this show. It's really no wonder it's so revered. And again, no wonder you could watch all those episodes because they're so good. Really, for the most part, I don't think I watched one that was like full on bad. You know.
There are some, but thankfully you were safe from those. But
And
I agree with you.
are there some that are kind of stinkers, Mark?
Yeah.
Or what?
So
Okay.
like nerdy me, I actually, as I watched each episode, I ranked them. So I actually have all 156 episodes ranked in order from my favorite to my least favorite.
See, no,
There,
that's awesome. That's amazing. Good for
and
you.
yeah, the ones at the bottom, I really think were kind of sucked.
What? Yeah. What was bad about him?
they
What?
either they were boring or
Okay.
they didn't really have a story. Like I don't know. Like one episode, I'm pretty sure you didn't see it. There's one called "The Last Night of a Jockey" with Mickey Rooney. Did you see that one?
No, but I saw it like in the Paramount Plus stuff, and I was curious about it because like, oh, there's Mickey Rooney in it, but I did not. I have not watched that one yet.
Yeah, that one's about he's like I think it only stars him. I don't think there's anyone else in that episode. He's a jockey
Is
and
he
like
like a washed up jockey or an old jockey or something? Or
something like that, and he's like he's just pretty much complaining about how he used to be big and he wishes he could be a good jockey again and whatnot, and I guess he makes a wish, and at the end of he ends up becoming taller because McEwen's not a very he's not a very big guy, so he actually becomes taller and a taller guy, and I guess somehow that affects his self confidence, and he's ready to go back and be a jockey again, but now he's too big to be a jockey, and that was the episode.
that sounds really boring.
it was it's sad with Mickey Rooney, but it's like yeah, that was a really one episode. So yeah, there are some that are just bad, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Okay.
But
Well, that's good to know, and that because I mean, and I guess part of it too, they cranked out a lot of episodes.
they cranked out a lot of episodes. Most of the season, it's 5 seasons, and most of them are like 30 something episodes
Yeah.
long.
So
But
not, I
I
guess,
want to go
not
back to it.
everything can be brilliant, right? I mean, I guess this way with it really with any show or any artistic endeavor, but still though, I think generally, and again, probably one of the reasons why the show is has just held up so well, right? Is just because of the real, impressive artistic nature. And I believe Rod Serling wrote a ton of these episodes, right? He
He,
was
yeah,
credited as a
yeah.
writer.
There was a lot of writers who submitted stuff, and I think Rod Serling, he himself wrote stuff too, but I think he also like edited stuff that other writers
Yeah.
do.
Did he? And he was, I guess, like a considered a producer on it too, right? I mean, this is kind of
I think it's pretty much his brainchild. I think
his
he was.
brainchild.
I think
Yeah,
he's pretty much like Walt Disney in any movie that Walt Disney does.
yeah, yeah.
He's just kind of in
And,
charge of everything.
and he was the host of every one
And
of these episodes. He would show up at some point near the first few minutes and give a
well,
little bit of an overview, right?
well,
Of
except for
what
season one. Season one, he doesn't appear. It's actually just his
is it
voice,
all voiceover in season one?
except for the last episode, which is the one with Keenan Wynn. He actually makes an appearance in that, but it's only from season two onwards that he actually does his famous appearance where he talks to the audience and explains the episode. So yeah, season one that doesn't happen.
Oh,
So,
okay. See, I'm so glad you're clarifying
yeah,
that for us. Uh, what else? Before we get into these specific
sure.
episodes, Mark, what most impressed you about the series? Overall.
You mentioned it already, but I want to talk about it again. It's just the high production value. It's like the stories, at least the good ones, are very well written and very well qualified. The camera work, the lighting is all very well shot. The acting made me realize that if I don't think a modern Twilight Zone show could be this good because our acting nowadays is not as good as it was back then, in my
Yeah.
opinion. There, and it's nice to see like these big actors doing these type of roles, that you wouldn't think they would be in. But and also actors who weren't big yet, but then later became big, like Robert Redford, famously in one episode. And uh, what is? I wanted to say something else. What was I going to say? I forget now.
Yeah, I really liked that Robert Redford episode. That almost made my top 13. That was a good one. That was a good one. Yeah.
It was very interesting. So yeah, it's just how good the show was in terms of quality. I think that's what stood out to me.
I was really impressed, and again, you just again understand why this show has such a following. So many people revere it so highly, and why it's hard. Why you have to get Paramount Plus, right, to watch them. So as I mentioned, Mark gave me the challenge to list my top 13 of the Twilight Zone TV show episodes. And again, I know this is a movie podcast, but we're talking about Twilight Zone, and it's awesome. So uh, the I'll just go ahead and start with that's okay with episode for
So,
me. My number
before
13.
before we start, I just wanted to ask you guys, because you said you didn't watch all the episodes. Do you have a rough idea how many episodes you watched?
Yeah, I think I watched around 75.
Okay, that's about half.
So I feel like I watched around half, and honestly, I'm really curious. I'm very tempted to watch them all because I kept track, which ones
Yeah,
I've watched.
I would
But
love for you to watch it. That'd be great.
it was honestly some of this too was Mark. I can't let Mark wait any longer. We've got to
I didn't,
record something.
I didn't mind waiting.
Well, you were so nice to wait for me as I was trying to get through. I initially thought I could power through um, all of them, but it's a time thing, trying to um,
Yeah, and
make
you're
it.
busy and all that
Make it
too.
well, we're all busy, but
Yeah,
just trying to keep also with my limited discretionary time get into the movies that I want to see and all the stuff. So anyway, but I feel like I got a really good feel for it,
yeah.
Mark.
No,
Even though
that's
I'm
about
gonna have
half.
to rely on you for it to be able to talk about
I mean,
holistically.
I'm no professional. I just seen every episode. That's it.
Well, no, exactly. Which is, and so like that there was one of them that had a sequel, so uh, that's uh that's so cool.
I was wondering if you wanted. I think a cool way to do it is like if let's say you mention your number 13 and talk about it, then I mention my number 13 and talk about it, and then
Yeah,
we work up to
I
number
love
one.
it. Does that work for you? That works for me. Does that work for you?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, so
Perfect.
my number 13 of the Twilight Zone episodes, it's called The Trade-Ins. It's from season 3. It's episode 31 of season 3,
Okay.
and it's the one, Mark, that's got the two elderly couples that visit
Yes.
that thing, the New Life Corporation, it's called. And
Mhm.
what this corporation can do is it can put your spirit or your soul or whatever into a younger body.
Yes.
But it's incredibly expensive. So this older couple they're old, you know, they're in, they're elderly, they're in failing health, and the husband is anyway. They're desperate. They're desperate to do this, but they only have enough money to do it for one. And
Yes.
it's really again just I just felt like in a way it was classic Twilight Zone because it brings up this kind of crazy scenario, but also really humanizes it and something that you can relate to and that makes you think.
Mhm.
Uh, what did you think of this episode?
I hate to say this was not one of my favorites.
No,
Yeah.
I would be surprised, Mark, if I picked a lot of ones that are going to be because again, you've seen them all and you've got good taste. So,
I'm looking at my list right now of the. Remember, I ranked all of
oh
them.
yeah, you ranked them all.
I have that
This
at
is
number 128.
okay, yeah. Of 156,
So
maybe it appealed to me just because I'm just thinking about aging and stuff. But anyway, I thought it was a really and also it's you know as we mentioned, I mean, there's a lot of different episodes and just there's a lot of different tones about them. They're not all scary.
No, there
Like
aren't.
this one is not scary to me. It's like just classic sci-fi. You know
So
that it, that
I think
that
it's
it
a
just
wistfulness to it too, probably.
yeah. And at the core of it is this kind of, is this just kind of sweet relationship between this husband and wife that want to, be together, but be in young bodies rather than these old aging bodies.
Yes,
Um,
it is an interesting story, but just to me,
sure, no, I get it.
I know it was.
As
I
I
don't
just
want.
said, there'll be plenty of those, I'm sure. More, as I mentioned, that I've
I don't want.
chosen.
I don't want to say it was boring, but it was
Well, it's slow. It was by no
slow,
means, yeah, it was by no means,
and it
moving at a fast foot.
kind of drags. I think like there's like a card game scene, if I'm not mistaken, which like it just felt like they needed filler to fill the time slot.
To take up the full 30,
Correct.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, 30
Mm.
minutes. Okay, what do you have at 13?
But no, that's one thing I like about this show is doing this. Like we'll see, like we'll all have different
Oh,
likes and
yeah.
dislikes. We'll see how different they are.
And I wonder how many of the ones that you picked that I've seen. So
Yeah,
I hope I've seen them.
that's what we'll find out. So my number 13 is season 2, episode 2. This is The Man in the Bottle. This is one regarding a married couple who own a antique shop, and they find a bottle that has a genie in it, and it grants them 4 wishes. Did you see this episode?
Yes, I did. I did
Yeah,
see that.
I like this episode a lot. I think it's like the overall idea of, hey, if I have a genie and I have 4 wishes, what can I wish for? And the couple, they realize that every wish they wish for comes with a little bit of a catch. I don't want to give too much away, but one time they wish for $1 million, but which they get, but then the IRS comes and takes away takes away most of it. So it's an episode like that about be careful what you wish for, and I
Yeah.
think it was really good, and I just thought it was really fun.
Now remind me, did it have any actors that we would know in it? I don't remember that it did, but that doesn't mean that.
Yeah, look at the names. There's Luther Adler, Vivi Janis, Lisa Gomes, Joseph Ruskin, and Ola
Okay.
Anthony. I don't really
No,
know them. Yeah.
again, I don't recognize the names, but I wonder again. You see some of those faces. You're like, oh yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that
I think
actor before. Like you were
Olan
talking about.
Sewell, I think I recognize him. I think he appeared in the Andy Griffith Show as
Oh,
like
okay,
a
yeah, which totally makes
firecracker or
sense.
something. But yeah.
Yeah, same time period.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my 13, number 13.
Okay. Excellent. Um, my number 12 is People Are Alike All Over, which is from season
Okay.
1, episode 25. And that's the one, Roddy McDowell is in it.
Oh, okay, that's that one. Okay,
And
yes,
it's the one where they go to Mars and Roddy McDowell. Oh no, there's just one actor that survives the
yeah,
crash landing. And he finds that the Martians are really hospitable, but it turns out that really they put him in a zoo. He's in like this zoo. That's the cage is a house, and he's
yes.
got every amenity and everything, but he's all by himself, and then just and people come and just look at him every day. Um, it's it's creepy, but I liked it.
It's yeah. It represents Twilight Zone a lot. It's like
Yeah, it's just classic Twilight Zone in so many ways. I love the ones where they kind of go into outer space. I picked some other ones.
it looks like
Um,
sci-fi, and then there's this overall twist. No, people are like, we just like looking at different animals that are different than us in zoos, and
and that kind of, and again, I think a classic stylistic thing. Not every episode does it, but there's often this twist in the last little bit.
which I
Like
love.
this one. Like you just figure out, oh, he's in a zoo. It's really what's happening because you just don't know. A lot of them are almost like a mystery, and then you find out what's happening, and
And I
uh,
think he there's a woman that he meets that who seems friendly to him at first, but later on you realize that no, she knows what's going on.
yeah, she's like the zookeeper kind of, isn't she, or something? Or she's, I mean, I guess technically, I mean, you because she's helping him, right? But it's not like, and the Martians are humans. I mean, in form, they're not like.
Just live on Mars.
They don't look like aliens, right, or something. You know, is is that kind of plot structure, Mark? Did you find that more often than not in all of the episodes? You know, like where stuff's going on, and then you don't really find out like what's truly happening until
To the last third, yeah.
the last, yeah, definitely in the third act of it, but really often it seems like in the last 5 minutes, you know.
Yeah, there's a good number of episodes like that, which I like twists, so I like those kind of stuff.
Yeah, I thought for the most part it was always quite satisfying when that was what the way the episode was structured.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think those are like top tier in terms of what Twilight Zone represents.
All right, what do you have at 12?
Okay, at 12, I have one that's considered another classic and one that was remade in the I can't remember if this was remade in the 80s version or 2000s version. I have to double check which one, but it was The Eye of the Beholder. Did you see this one?
I'm not sure. Remind me what the story is.
This is about a woman who was in a hospital going through a cosmetic surgery. Basically, she's never looked beautiful in her life. She's always
Oh,
been
I did
considered
see this one.
ugly.
Okay, yeah, it's coming back to me. Okay, yes,
And we never see her face for the majority of the film. It's all covered in bandages because like she can't take it off until like all the healing is over, and all the doctors are working on her, and we don't see their faces either, which is very interesting too, because I guess we can get into spoilers, but in the end, what happens is when we actually reveal the bandages under her face, she's actually a beautiful regular human being, but she lives in a world where everyone else has like I think it's like pig snouts or
yeah.
something like
It's
that.
that they're. I mean, they're terrifying looking, right? They've got that pig snout, and yes, and I
She lives,
think
go ahead.
no, please after you.
No, I was gonna say she lives in a world where that's considered beauty, and what she looks like is considered, ugly or not right or abnormal or whatever.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
very powerful not just message, but the way they shot this, like the angles they had to get to make sure you don't see any of these faces until the end. It's like mind boggling actually.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I just checked; it's the 2000 version that does a remake of this.
Okay. That's right. I mean, and as I mentioned, with many of these episodes, I was so impressed with the photography, with how they were shot, and that one, yeah, I'm with you because again, you never see above the neckline, right, until the end, and
But
uh,
one thing I'm proud of myself is I actually guessed what the twist would be before it happened. So
yes, well done,
thanks. I was like,
well done.
oh, I know what's gonna happen, and I told myself, and I was right. So I feel good.
Good call. And again, just so impressed with the work, the technical work of how they made it.
Well, I
Really
should say
good.
this is season 2, episode 6.
Okay. Okay. So my number 11, we're back to season one. It's season one, episode 8. This one is, and I think this is a pretty famous one too. You'll have to tell me I'm excited to hear what you
Mhm.
have to say about it. It's Time Enough at Last. It's one of the Burgess
Okay.
Meredith episodes. And it's the one and there's a few of these episodes which I've picked where it's a very unlikable character.
Yeah.
In a way who kind of gets his comeuppance. But he's a book lover. And all he wants to do is read, and he has this wife that doesn't want him to read, she nags him and stuff.
Which is the
And
weirdest thing to me because, like, when I was like, doing research on the episodes after, and they mentioned, people who think book readers or intellectuals are like are bad or snobby. Like, I didn't know that was a thing until this.
until you saw this episode, yeah. Well, because it seems to me that it's a very virtuous thing, to be a good book reader. But I guess his character was kind of portrayed in a way sympathetic, but also in a way like super annoying. But his wife was annoying too, I mean, and it was kind of all the. He just was like this character seems very out of place in his life. He's in it's modern day, said modern day, but as most of these, I guess as many of these stories are. Or I guess you say current time, right? I mean, just
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like set in the future or anything. But anyway, uh, a nuclear bomb goes off, and he just happens to be in a spot where he was in a bank vault, right? Whatever he was doing in there, um, and he survives it. So he's the only surviving human, and he's thrilled. Again, spoiler alert, but he's so thrilled that he's going to be the only, that all he can do. He finally finds a library, and there's a lot of books that did not get destroyed in the nuclear blast. But he stumbles and his glasses fall off, and his glasses break, and
Yeah,
so here he is. He's alone in the world, and he can't read.
you
He
can.
can't read. And so anyway, it's just what do you think of that episode? I mean, is it on your list, or what was your take on this episode?
It's not on my list, but it's definitely on other people's list. Like you said, it's definitely one of the more famous ones that people.
Yeah,
And just for me, it was just a little bit slower, so it didn't make that high.
it was really slow. I would absolutely give you that. Yeah.
But I think Rod Serling was asked which was his favorite episode, and he mentioned two, and this was one of them.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The other one was I can't remember the title now, but it's it's one where this woman is there's like aliens attacking this woman's house, and most of the episode is without dialogue. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think it's with Agnes Moorehead in it, right?
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
like the miniature aliens.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
exactly. Yeah,
that's one of Rod Sterling's favorites too. Okay.
those two are one of
I
his
you
top.
know, we might be talking about that one a little more later, Mark.
Yeah,
Just interesting. Okay.
but yeah, the going back to this episode, did you see one called the what's it called? It involves a stopwatch. Well, a
Yeah.
stop.
Oh, yeah. And I've picked that one too.
uh,
I'm just saying.
I won't say anything.
I want to hear about it. I want to hear what you say. I have to say about it. It's
Wait,
it's coming up.
yeah,
It's back. It's my number 10. But we'll get. I want to hear your number 11. If
okay, we'll get to that. So we'll go to my number 11. My number 11 is from season 3, episode 17, called One More Pallbearer. This one is about a man who builds a bunker, a nuclear bunker, and he invites like 3 people in his life who he thinks like cheated him out of something. He has a grudge against them for some reason, but it's like petty reasons, not really like a really good reason. And he basically tries to trick them all into thinking that he has knowledge that a war is about to happen and only he is safe and whoever's down here with him. And he's like this rich and pompous guy, and he's expecting them 3 to like break down and like beg to be with him or whatnot. But then he realizes that they actually don't want to be with him. They're going to leave and go back to their families, even if this is the last time that they can see their families. And it kind of like destroys his whole image of what he expected to happen because it was fake. There was no nuclear war happening, but he ends up going crazy at the end and thinking that a bomb did go off and he's the only one left. Did you see this episode?
I did not see that episode.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's a very interesting one that I probably like this more than other people, but yeah, it has Joseph Wiseman, Gage Clark, Catherine Squire, Trevor Barnett, but yeah, I thought I like the twist and I like the acting and just the overall like it's another character who's like stuck up and whatnot, but he gets his comeuppance too.
Interesting. Oh, that
Mm.
sounds like one I should need to put on. You know, need to check out before I cancel that Paramount Plus subscription. Right. That okay. Cool. Very cool.
What's your number
I,
10?
so number 10. So speaking of, it's called The Kind of Stopwatch, and again, this is
Oh,
one of those super
interesting.
annoying characters.
It's very
Uh,
similar to the time and
yeah,
yeah.
it's very similar. And I don't know why I found it so satisfying. Again, because just was seeing when these super annoying characters kind of get their comeuppance. But what happens is he is a very long winded guy, right? Uh, and he loses his job, but he talks with the stranger and is given this stopwatch that when he clicks it, uh, everything around him stops. Time stops. So he continues to move and live, but he can stop stuff. So he tries to change some situations in his life, right? Um, what did you what were you going to say? What did you say? I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought we're going to be talking about this. What
No,
did
no,
you think about this episode?
no. I just brought it up earlier just to compare it with Time Enough at Last.
Did did you like this one more than Time Enough at Last?
So my technically no, but I like the premise better. I think a lot of people in life have always. I know I have when I was a kid dreamt of having some sort of a thing that could stop time. So I
Yeah,
think that was a cool aspect of this film and of this episode. But I don't know. It's either something with you know again. I think it's just filler and like what he does during his time and like I felt they could have done more with it, and it is one of those where I think the premise was better than the execution.
yeah, yeah. I, I don't know why I enjoyed it as much as I did, but
No, no,
I just did. Uh, I thought it was just again really interesting story,
you
and
didn't,
maybe
you
it's that
mentioned
same sort of context as you were mentioning a
you
concept.
didn't you didn't mention what happened at the end.
Well, yeah. Do you want to tell us? What do you want to tell? You remember?
You go ahead. It's yours.
Because I um I mean I remember the ending, Mark, but I can't. You've got a better memory than I to say specifically what happens to this guy, if
I
you wouldn't
think
mind.
what I remember, he's decides he's going to rob a bank, so he stops time and loads up his cart to take away as much money as he can.
Yep, yep.
Similar to the Time Enough episode where the guy breaks his glasses and can't, read anything, he cracks his stopwatch so he can't unstop. Which, when you think about it, I feel that. Imagine how
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's right. So he's got all this money, right? But time is stopped, and he can't use it anywhere. And
scary
the
and he
watch
can't
is
unstop.
broken. I mean, again, classic Twilight Zone, right? In that these kind of crazy twists.
There's a similar episode I mean, somewhat similar in the '80s version of uh, Russia deciding. Long story short, but in the end, Russia decides to launch a nuclear weapon to America, and this woman has this ability to stop time too. So she manages to stop it right, like the rocket is like right about to land on Earth, so she stops time. So she can't unstop it because if she does, everyone will die. But her only other option is to live in this world where everyone is stopped and she's the only one alive. So it's similar to that.
Yeah, similar, isn't it? These similar kind of types of stories.
Yeah.
Um, what do you have at your number 10?
My number 10, I have another from season 1, episode 21. I'm pretty sure you've seen it, Mirror Image. This one is
Yes.
Vera Miles, yes, and this is a excuse me, a very this is like a classic in terms of like what you expect from Twilight Zone. It's creepy. It's kind of
Yeah.
scary. It's this woman Vera Miles who is at a train station and she sees someone who looks exactly like her doppelganger, if you will. And this is like one of the early episodes, just in general, I think, in film and TV history, where the concept of like doppelgangers, like alternate universes and parallel universes, was like brought up. Now we have this all the time with like the multiverse and superhero films and whatnot, but
Right.
back in the '60s, this is still like new territory to be talking about. It was basically the other her is a her from a parallel universe or something, and like there can't be two of them exist in the same time, and the other her wants to like replace her as the real her in this land. It was something like that, but it's like very creepy and very like suspenseful as well. And
Oh
I
yeah.
really
Great suspense. Again, great acting. As you mentioned, which is the hallmark of this show, and
yeah.
uh, yeah, really creepy. And I'm with you. I think you bring up a really good point that this probably was really kind of groundbreaking with that
Mhm.
subject matter, right? Because something that we see, we see it all the time now. It's almost like, it's almost unoriginal, right? Because we see it, it's like we see it a lot. But yeah, I bet back in the day, this was really cool. And it
And
still is cool. I mean, it holds up. It's great.
Oh no, definitely, and I think it's one of the inspirations for the Jordan Peele film Us.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
good point. Yeah, because again, it's real. It's really got a horror type of element to it, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah,
it's
it's
really
definitely a
creepy.
creepy one to watch.
Yeah, excellent. All right. Well, my number nine, Mark, is He's Alive, which is one of those hour-long ones from season four. It's season
Okay,
four, episode four. In fact, I think it was the first episode I had watched of season four, maybe. Anyway,
okay.
because it just kept going. I'm like, what's happening? Why isn't this ending after 30 minutes? And then I'm like, oh yeah, okay, these ones are longer. But this one stars Dennis Hopper,
Oh yeah, young.
and and this one's super creepy, and I kind of can't believe I liked it. But I think I just felt like, and I think one of the really interesting things about the Twilight Zone too is that it tackles some interesting social issues,
Yeah,
but using, again, just using storytelling, like using kind of fables and stuff.
I think that's what
But
Rod Serling was like.
yeah, I think
He,
he wrote this one.
yeah.
I don't know if he directed it, but he wrote it, if I'm not mistaken. But Dennis Hopper plays just this loser of a guy who's just down on his luck and down on life. His only friend is this kind of nice older gentleman, like his neighbor, who befriends him. But he discovers this Dennis Hopper character just becomes a neo-Nazi, and
Hmm.
he starts holding these rallies, but he's getting fueled by this mysterious forces in the shadows, and you don't really see him until, I don't know if it's in the third act or maybe it's what launches the third act, Mark. But it's Adolf Hitler,
Yeah,
and so it's super creepy and super dark, but um, it felt so real to me because I just feel like, dang, these are the same problems that we deal with today.
hmm,
These same horrible forces and ideas, that just make people act in such horrendous ways.
hmm.
That it was moving to me, albeit sad and depressing.
No, and I could see that. My issue with the season four ones is that because they're so long, sometimes some of them seem to go way long
They
than they
go
should.
way too long. I thought the same thing. In fact, I don't know how many more I watched of season four. I watched a few of them, but I just thought, man,
Like the
I like the 30-minute format a
yeah,
lot better.
like
What
the
you
one.
did? What was did you like the shorter ones better overall? What was your take on that?
No, no, overall, yeah, I think 30 minutes worked out good. Like there are a couple from season four which I liked, and the ones I like, I really liked. But the rest of them, it's like they could have just been 30 minutes. So I think overall, I would have much preferred the 30 minutes.
I felt sometimes that in order to fit the hour, yeah, the stuff was like padded.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like they just really added all this extra dialogue and stuff that just wasn't needed. It didn't move the story along at all, in my opinion.
And then season five, they went back to a half an hour.
Yeah, but for this one, for this one, season four, I think this might be my only season four, yeah, that I picked for my top 13. But it it was moving to me. It was unforgettable for me, scary, and Dennis Hopper is great. I mean, again, just
I
uh,
never seen him young before.
okay, yeah. Oh, right. I mean, just used to him being he was, in
Oh
fact,
yeah.
he looked so young, like almost like a teenager, or early 20s. But, yeah. What about you? What have you got for number nine?
My number nine, I have a world of difference. This is about a man who goes to the office and is going to work like usual, and then you know doing his thing, and then he hears someone yell "cut." Then he realizes his office is a movie studio, and everyone's telling him that he's not really him. He's a character that he's playing, but
Oh yeah, I
he
think I saw this one too.
he doesn't believe that at all. But he's just so confused about what's going on. He has to go talk to his wife to figure out what's going on. And but basically, yeah, he's an actor who got so wrapped up in his performance, he ended up, believing his performance is his real life. And I like that idea a lot. Like it reminds me a lot. There was a Liam Neeson movie called Unknown that came out in 2011. I don't know if you've
Oh
seen it.
yeah, yeah.
I liked it too because it was pretty much the same story.
The same story.
They probably got it from this. I don't know.
You wonder. You seriously, Mark, don't you wonder? Now that you see some of these Twilight Zone episodes, like, wow, were these the genesis? Like you mentioned with the Jordan Peele.
And yeah, so I just really like that because I like for him finding out little by little what's really real and what isn't. He's played by Howard Duff, and I think his wife is played by Aileen Ryan, who, interestingly enough, is the mother of actor Sean Penn and Chris Penn.
Oh, interesting.
She died,
Okay, wow.
she was like 94, so she's a little long. But I think this was like one of the few things she was famous for, this episode. But yeah, I really like this episode. And I should say this is season 1, episode 23.
Oh, okay. So my number 8 is another season 1. And it's the last one, and maybe that's why I was thinking, because I watched other season 1 episodes, but this was that episode 36, where Rod Serling actually appears, right? But this is that it's A World of His Own. It's with Keenan Wynn, where he plays that writer who can control reality by dictating changes to his writing. And uh, I got a kick out of it. I felt like this was one of those. It was a rare comedic episode.
It was
I mean,
comedic, yeah.
it was still very Twilight Zone-y, because this really science fiction kind of stuff, but it didn't like take a really dark turn. I don't recall at the very end of it. Again, maybe I might be getting it confused.
You didn't.
But it didn't, did it? What did you think of that episode?
That was really good. That barely. I mean, my number 15, so that
Oh
that almost went.
wow! Okay, so at least in your top 20.
Yeah, definitely is. But it's really, like you said, it's a comedic one, and Keenan Wynn is always
I
good.
like Keenan Wynn. I think that was made me so. I think, and he was just so good in it too. So was
And
the woman who played his wife or his secretary or whatever. That.
I forget who that was now.
Yeah,
But
I didn't recognize her as an actress, but I thought she held her own. She was good.
mhm. And like we said, this was the first time Rod Serling actually made an appearance, and it's actually the only time where one of the actors refers to him, because I think Keenan Wynn says something to Rod Serling.
Yeah, I
Actually,
think he was refer to Mr. Sterling or
yeah,
something. Yeah,
they broke
yeah.
that fourth wall there. But yeah, from
Yes,
season 2 onwards, then Rod Serling would do what we know him to do, to actually introduce the
the
episode
classic
in
introductions.
in,
Yeah,
yeah, in person. But yeah,
yeah.
that's a good episode. I thought that was really
And
interesting.
again, just kind of like a rare one that's all comedic.
Yeah.
You know, um, yeah, but
And
fun.
Keenan Wynn, his father's Edwin, who also appeared. He appeared in 2 Twilight Zone.
Yes, yes. And I saw some. I think I might even see both of those
Okay,
Edwin ones. All right, what do you have then for your number 8?
my number 8 is another season 1 one also, but it's episode 20, Elegy. This one's kind of a darker episode, but it's about 3 astronauts who go into space, and they land on a planet or star or something, and they're trying to find out where they are, because it looks like Earth and all that, but they can't really find anyone until they find one guy who's like he's like the only guy alive there, and he's played by Cecil Kellaway. And the twist happens to be, this is actually it's kind of like a museum. So all the people who come to this planet, Cecil kind of poisons and turns them into living statues, and they're like exhibits that kind of just represent Earth. So these 3 astronauts, sadly, they end up drinking the poison that he gives them, and he makes them into like an astronaut exhibit for this planet. Have you seen this one?
I think I did see that one. I'm getting it confused maybe with another couple. Where there's
Yeah, there's a
astronaut,
couple that are like
but
astronaut
yeah,
related.
but
Yeah,
that creepy guy who they finally they said that they drink the stuff and
yes.
um,
But yeah, I thought this one was really like creepy. Like it kept me on my like I was
yeah,
interested to know what happened next. Yeah,
yes, and again, just so well crafted, right? And this uh yeah, it's absolutely like this mystery is unfolding and it's creepy and it's scary. You're like, what's
yeah,
happening? Again, just classic Twilight Zone.
darker endings. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's that. Yeah, I remember. Okay, it's all coming back to me now. That was a cool one. Um, my number 7, Mark, is To Serve Man. This
Okay.
is
Yes.
and the title. I mean, the titles are important, but this title is very important. Is very important. This is from season 3, episode 24. This alien race comes to Earth, and they promise to, bring. They promise peace and to share technology and stuff. Um, and they have this book that's called To Serve Man. So they're thinking that, and the aliens like truly look like
Aliens.
classic aliens. They got like the giant heads and the big. In fact, one of the actors who plays the kind of the main alien is Richard Keel,
Yes.
who uh, I think my first exposure to Richard Keel was in Moonraker, the James Bond movie with Roger Moore. He played the character Jaws. So he's an imposing guy. I mean, how tall was Richard Keel? I was like 7'4" or so,
He,
something, right?
he was up there. Yes.
Super tall and just kind of a perfect face because he looked kind of scary. I mean, he'd be a scary. You would definitely not want him to be chasing you. But anyway, um, these linguists are trying to figure out this alien language, and they figure out that, and these aliens they end up taking Earthlings away, right? They take them to their planet. They put them on a spaceship and take them to the planet, and these linguists figured out that to serve man really means that they eat. They kill. They fatten up the humans and kill them and eat them. So
Yes.
they're like serving them, on a plate.
Hmm.
So you never see that, but it's told in like a flashback, right? And then you meet this one guy, and he's in kind of like a prison cell. I mean, it's not uncomfortable, right? I mean, he's got stuff, but they just keep bringing him food, and they want him to eat, and then you find out why, because they want to
Yes.
serve them up for dinner, and it's just one of those. And again, you find that out in the last like 2 minutes, right, or 90 seconds of what the to serve man really means. And
Yeah.
did you see it coming? Did you figure that one out too, Mark? Did you know what was going on there?
So this is another one that's like famous in Twilight Zone. So this one I kind of actually knew the twist even before I saw it
Ah,
because
okay, nice.
I was aware of it in like just TV knowledge, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
So it has the famous line, "It's a cookbook," and
Right.
I heard
Right.
I was reading that one of the criticisms of this episode, though, was, the aliens book is in alien language, and it's only after the humans, linguists decide to translate it, they realize it means to serve man. So the criticism is like they linguists think that an alien language probably wouldn't have the word serve to mean the two definitions of serve that we mean in English. So that was their reason.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I'm
guess a valid criticism, maybe nitpicky, but valid, right?
I don't. It's not one of my top favorites, but it's definitely famous. Like it represents.
Interesting that it's know that it's famous because yeah, I hadn't heard of it, and I was just delighted every time Richard Keel was on the screen. I thought he made it great,
I
you
think
know.
they had this cool fun fact. I think one of Richard Keel's last movies, if I'm not mistaken, it was a voice role in Tangled, Disney's Tangled. I think it was one of
Oh,
the
did he
thugs.
play one of those thugs?
Yeah,
Oh, see, Mark, you just know all the stuff. That's so cool. That's cool. I didn't know that. Excellent. All right, what do you have for your number 7?
for my number 7, I have the only episode from season 5 on this list for me, which is From Agnes with Love, season 5, episode 20. This one's another more lighthearted one, but it's about a computer named Agnes who falls in love with her programmer, and it's just kind of funny how the programmer is he's not. He doesn't get his way with women all the time. He's like meek and all that. He's not like everyone's dream guy. But the computer falls in love with him and wants to do anything she can to, well, should I say she, but it's a computer to be with him, and she does anything to mess up any dates he has, and then she just becomes fully obsessed with him. But it turns out she's been doing this with like every previous programmer before her, so before him. So even at the end of the episode, when he pretty much gives up on her and she gets a new a new programmer,
And it starts
she
again.
yeah. So I thought it was very interesting. This one was directed by Richard Donner, and
Okay.
I was like seeing like old computers, which when we look at it, we just think it just looks like a machine with printouts and stuff like that. But
Yes.
it's it was more funny, so that was nice. And I like the idea of a computer falling in love with her programmer is probably not so like we've probably seen it a lot in certain like movies and shows and games now, but I feel back then that was probably a really novel
Really,
thing.
kind of a high level concept. Yeah. Does the computer talk? I haven't seen this episode, Mark. Sorry.
Okay, I don't remember if she talked, but like she prints out
Oh,
statements.
okay.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
remember if she actually says anything personally.
And when is the computers, they just like show like kind of like the computer screen or the console or something? That's how you know that the computer is.
Well, it's like the old-fashioned computers. Like it's like a room of like buttons and
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
like a '60s
That
computer.
makes sense from the early '60s, right?
Mhm.
Oh, that's okay. That's one. Got to put that one on the list. That sounds very interesting. There was a movie called, was it called Her, that had Joaquin Phoenix
Yes, yes.
and Scarlett Johansson? Isn't she like
Mhm.
the voice of the computer? And I think it's more though like the
Yeah, he
guy
falls in love
falls in
with her.
love with her, right? With the computer.
And now with
Um,
like AI and everything, and social media and everything like that's we can understand that now.
right, right. But probably again back in the day,
Yeah,
this was it really a very innovative
yeah,
idea. Right? Clever, really interesting. Okay, so now we're at number 6, right?
correct,
Am I still
correct.
keeping us on track? Okay, so this one we talked briefly or kind of alluded to this one. It's called The Invaders. It's from season 2, episode
Okay,
3.
yes,
And I
yes.
guess you're saying this is one that Rod Serling,
From what
one
I
of
read,
his.
if that's correct, yeah.
Yeah, and again, y'all figure, but this is the one with, it stars Agnes Moorehead, and no, yeah, there is zero dialogue. In fact, she's the only like kind
Even,
of
yeah.
human
Mhm.
character in it. Um, and she hears she's just this woman living alone in this just house, and kind of looks like almost like a farmhouse or something.
Yeah.
uh, and she discovers this small UFO in her attic that has these aliens in it that
Yes.
are these little, I mean, they're only like 6 feet no, 6 inches tall, right? 6 to 8 inches tall or something. um, and they just terrorize her like they're trying to kill her. Right? See, I think that's what it is, isn't it? Are they trying to kill her? Um, they have
Well,
knives and
this,
stuff,
yeah.
but anyway, the twist on this is you find out that actually those little aliens, they're like humans from Earth, and she's like some super giant, like outer space dweller or something. Isn't that what the ending is, Mark? Am I messing it up?
That's it exactly. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! What did you think of that episode?
Because of the dialogue not being there, I think I didn't like it as much as others, but I like the twist, like the twist of we are actually we are the invaders. We're invading this giant people's house instead of we're the humans being invaded by aliens, but we're
Yeah.
the invaders. So I think
It was a cool twist, and kind of a bizarre twist, one I didn't expect.
yeah, I didn't expect that one either.
Agnes Moorehead, I think, is a good actress. My first exposure to her was on the TV show Bewitched. She
Okay.
played. Didn't she play the mother of the main? I'm forgetting these character names, but
Yeah, I haven't seen Bewitched. So.
okay. But then, as I've watched more movies, she was in Citizen Kane,
Mhm.
and she's a very fine actress, and I thought she did a really good job with this movie because I mean, with this episode, because she had to carry it all,
Yeah,
because it's just her and
without
these little dolls,
yeah,
that are in astronaut suits,
yeah.
because you
I don't
never see the humans inside, right, that are in those astronaut suits.
I don't think they're trying to kill her. I think they invading, I guess, and they're well, yeah, I guess they're trying to kill her.
Maybe again, it's from her perspective, like they're trying to harm her.
Correct. Yeah.
But I think that they were just like, it was for science, right? I don't think they were.
Science. Yes.
It just seems like, and again, some of it was just the way it was shot. Like they would make, because they'd make it, appear like through the shadows and whatnot, that they were trying to do, trying to harm her. But anyway, I thought it was incredibly clever and interesting.
At
What
least
do you
you're.
have for six?
Hey, at least you're like Rod Serling. You like the same two that he likes.
Go figure.
There you go.
Go
So
figure.
my number 6 is from season 2, episode 28. It's called "Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up?" Did you see that one?
I believe so. Well, when you start telling me the plot, let's see if I remember.
So this one's about there's like reports about a UFO in a certain place, and these policemen are sent to like investigate it, and then they go to a diner, and the diner
Oh, I did
there's
see that one.
yeah
Yes, yes, yes.
there was like a tour
Yeah.
bus or something, and all the passengers it's like seven of them are in the diner, but basically it's discovered, okay, there was a UFO and there's some Martian there who's impersonating.
One of these people is a Martian, right?
Correct.
And we just don't know who it is.
So I think that's why I liked it. And so it's all
It's
about
like a
trying.
mystery.
Yeah, it's a mystery trying to find it. It's like Agatha Christie, but with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like an Agatha Christie, in a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah,
That was a
trying.
cool one. I like that one too.
I like that a lot too for that reason. And eventually, they figure out who it is. But the other twist at the end is the worker of the diner who's there. He himself is also an alien, but he's from Venus, I think, and
Yeah, he's from another planet.
he came before the Martians, and he realized to see if they could colonize or whatever. So I like.
That was a good twist at the very end. You're like, oh wow, yeah. Again, classic Twilight Zone. Because again, it was a good mystery, and in its own way, kind of creepy, but also in its own way, just kind of, it's just carried by these great actors.
Yes.
Aren't there some famous actors that were in that too? Or who was
Jack
that?
Jack Elam was in it, and
Yeah, I was thinking of Jackie Lamb. Yeah,
yeah, a couple others: Bill Irwin, John Hoyt, Gene Willis. I'm looking at the list now: Barney Phillips, John Archer. But I feel for me, Jack Elam is the one that stands out.
yeah, for sure.
All right, we're in the top 5 now, Stanford.
Excellent. We're in our top 5, Mark. Okay, so for me, for 5, I've got Back There. This
Okay.
is season 2, episode 13. This stars, I think it's Russell Johnson, who played the professor on Gilligan's Island. That's what I know he's been in. I've seen him in other movies, because as you know, I'm a real Turner
Mhm.
Classic Movies nut. I've seen him in other stuff, but Gilligan's Island is always the thing that I remember him for. But he travels from present day Washington D.C. To 1865, the night of President Lincoln's assassination,
Yes.
and I just thought this episode was so cool. I love time travel stuff,
Yeah.
Mark. I'm kind of a real sucker for time travel. And again, just such an interesting idea, that is there something that someone could have done to prevent, President Lincoln's murder? What did you think of this episode? And yeah, I'm anxious to get your opinion on it.
Yeah, it's not very high up again for me, but again, it's more, I like the premise more than execution. But yeah, the idea of stepping back in time and trying to prevent this assassination from happening, and as we find out in the episode, he has a lot of trouble doing that because people are like, "Wait, how do you know this?"
Yes, they're like, how do you know what this guy's gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and like we mentioned before, this is one of the inspirations for the first segment of that Twilight Zone, the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely the time travel aspect is definitely my favorite part of that.
I think you bring up a really good point to Mark, in that, and it was with some of the episodes that I watched again, since I've only watched just a portion of them, but sometimes the concept is a lot more interesting than the you said, like that.
Yes. Mhm. Execution.
You said so well, that I think, yeah, this one, thinking about it, it did have some moments where it dragged, or there was some issues maybe with the pacing and whatnot.
Yes.
But I think I was so enamored with the concept that's the concept kind of won over the execution.
No, that's all that matters. I think we mentioned already, but just to clarify, this is our top pick.
Right,
Not
right.
necessarily, oh, we think this is
Not
the best
necessarily
written
like the
or whatever.
finest. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, what did you have for your number 5?
So number 5, I have one of the hour ones from season 4, episode 7. So, like I said, season 4 is one that's hard to watch because a lot of
Yeah,
those
it's
episodes
so
just drag.
long.
But the ones that are good, I think, are really good. And this is one of them. It's called Jezebel. This one takes place in uh, like old Americana kind of thing, and it's about this woman who she's in love with this guy, and he falls for another woman, and she wants to take revenge on him. She goes to a witch to make him fall in love with her, but the she gets like a potion, but then it comes with a price. The price is that this woman turns into a leopard at night, and terrorizes the she's a leopard in this place, and she could be shot and killed. And it's just about like how far people would go to get what they want, and yeah, there's this the love story aspect of it too, which I liked. So this one actually kept me interested, and I really
So
wanted to
it
see
worked. It's
it again.
one that really worked in the
Yeah.
hour
Did you see this one?
format. You know, I think that I did, but I also honestly, Mark, I bet you I was watching it late at night and I fell asleep.
No
Um,
worries. James Best
eh,
was in this one.
yeah, and I just remember the whole like going to the witch, and
Jim Nolan played the witch, I think.
which I thought again was kind of again a classic kind of story thing. I mean, we know, I think, in our day from like the Little Mermaid sort of
Yes.
thing, right? Like Ariel is going to
Hmm.
Ursula, but there's a price, right? Like you can't,
Yeah.
you're not gonna get this free
No, it comes with a
free
price.
lunch. You're gonna have
And,
to
and this is the
remind me
only.
what happens because I don't remember the end, or maybe I do. And I honestly, I really do think because some of these, Mark, I just have to watch them kind of like late at night,
Yeah.
because I was trying to fit them in.
I don't remember 100%, but I think what happens is they end up having to kill her as a leopard, and that causes her to
Oh,
die. And
yeah,
James Best
okay.
is upset with that, upset with it too. But you could tell that he loved her, and she still loves him, and she dies. But he still has a life with. He still loves the fiance that he's
He
with.
still has this life with this other
Mhm.
woman.
But
Yeah.
yeah, well, I think he married her actually, so he's his wife. So
Okay.
but this is the only episode of the Twilight Zone where we mentioned Rod Serling always gives introduction to episode, but he also always gives a closing narration. This is the only episode where he doesn't give a closing narration.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
because there's like a song that plays called like the Jezebel Ballad or something like that, and they actually
Oh,
play a lyric of that instead.
takes the place of the Rod Serling kind of, wrap up.
Correct.
Uh, Interesting. Okay.
That's my number 5.
My next one is number 4
Well,
is Death's Head Revisited. It's from season
okay.
3, episode 9. This is another one of those kind of like that Dennis Hopper one.
Yes.
Well, not kind of. It's just Nazi themed, but
Yeah. You like all
this
the Nazi
one,
episodes,
um,
huh?
I know, right? But I guess this was one that I don't know. It felt cathartic to me because I just think these people were so evil. Uh, so this former German SS captain returns to the Dachau concentration camp where he killed,
Yes.
where he killed all these Jews, and he begins reminiscing about the quote unquote good old days, um,
Yes.
until he finds himself on trial by the ghosts of the people that he killed,
Yes.
and I thought it was incredibly powerful, and uh, and again, it just felt to me like divine justice had been served.
Hmm.
Dark, scary, but done in a very Twilight Zone kind of way, but also in such a real thing that we all that we know happened, and it was just beyond horrible, right? Um,
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah, that one really moved me. I thought it was you know terrifying, but excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy was played by an actor named Oscar Bericki Jr., who
Yes.
also did two other episodes of this.
He
And I
was in
think
both.
his
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was trying to think. I think I saw another episode that he was in.
yeah, it was three. I think he was in, and I think his family was actually um like they had to flee or something
Oh,
from the Nazis.
wow.
Or
Interesting.
didn't
Okay,
fight
so
the
this would
Nazis.
have some
I
like
forget
personal
exactly what,
meaning
but
to
it was
him
actually
too.
personal. And
You know,
Ben Wright, the actor who also did a couple of Disney voices, he has a minor role as the Doctor in that one. So that was interesting to see.
What Disney voices did he do, Mark?
So he did three Disney voices in films. He did the voice of Rama the wolf in the Jungle Book. He did the voice of Roger in 101 Dalmatians, and
Oh.
his last role was Grimsby in Little Mermaid. So actually, I like this story a lot. When he went to do the Little Mermaid, uh, he had to tell the people he's working with. He had to tell them because like they were trying to tell him how to do what he had to do and all that. And he had to tell them, look, I've actually done work for Disney before, and they did. Like, yeah, I've done voices for Disney before. Trust me.
Oh, that's a great story. Oh, wow. Again, just these amazing actors, right? That they assembled for all these episodes. In fact, I wondered too, Mark, if like a lot of the actors of the day, like like wanted to be on Twilight Zone. You know what I mean? Like it was like a coveted thing. Uh,
I think it's like a character actor's like haven, like in any sort of anthology series. I think is like where they could shine. So I think they really enjoy something like that.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, we can get more into this in a bit, but what a what other TV show was like it, right? I
Yeah,
mean, it was just seemed like in a lot of ways it had to have been a one of a kind. Again, I wasn't alive, when it came
it,
out,
there
but
was like the other one that people compare it to is the Outer Limits, which I haven't seen, but from
yeah,
what
The
I
Outer
understand,
Limits, and I haven't seen. I know I've seen some episodes, and again, the same thing that always scared me as a kid when that was on.
okay,
It came
from
on
what I
TV.
understand, it's more like sci-fi ish rather than
Yeah,
twisty and dark and stuff.
right. The
Yeah.
way. Okay, so I started to digress, but what do you have at number four?
No, no, it was a good digression because, like, I would love to see like an anthology series come back. I feel now what they do is they have like anthology seasons, so it's like a whole season is one show, one story, and then the next season is a different story. Like they've been
Yes.
doing that with a couple of shows, but like I love to see like a good anthology series again, where every episode is its own thing.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with you because again, there's something that's in a way. I just felt like these were mini movies,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and again, just this wonderful storytelling that happens in a really compressed way, but still so well done and so ultimately satisfying. Whether it's creepy or happy or whatever, it's still just such great storytelling. Yeah.
So my number four
Yes.
is from season one, episode 34. This is the After Hours. This one is also a creepy one. This is one where this woman comes to a department store to
Oh my
buy
gosh.
something. I
I
forget
did
what.
see this one. Okay.
But this is one like this is a scary one where let's just say the mannequins come to life.
Oh, it was scary.
Yeah.
Oh man.
This is the first episode I think that I really felt like the creepy factor of Twilight Zone.
Yes.
Mannequin. If you see mannequins, like mannequins are things that I, especially more human like ones. I feel this is true. I feel in real life when everyone leaves, they come to life and roam the store. Um,
Mannequins creep me out too.
it's,
And this just brings and this type of episode too where again you don't know necessarily what's happening and the main character is just as if they're losing their mind,
yeah,
right?
she
As they're
has no
trying
idea
to
what's going
figure out what's happening to them. Again, seems like a classic Twilight Zone trope, but in the best of ways.
And in the end, what it turns out to be is she herself is actually a mannequin, but she didn't realize it. Apparently, the mannequins every like month or so, or they like take turns to become quote unquote real and live in the real world as like a real person. So she had also done this, but had she forgot about it after a while. But it was her turn to return, her time to return, and have someone else you know go live in the real world. So the episode ends where we actually see her as a mannequin.
That's a mannequin. It's so
So
creepy.
so yeah, so I really like this one a lot. But this episode,
It's a good one.
this is one that they did remake in the '80s version. That one is
Oh,
more that one's a little bit more suspenseful because like this one kind of ends. I don't want to say happily, but it's like she accepts that she has to
yeah, she
return
accepts
and
it.
all
She,
that.
like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that one in the remake, no, it's like I don't think she even knows what's going on. It's like the mannequins are like trying to like hunt her down, and like she pretty much becomes a mannequin again without like
Ooh,
even
scary.
knowing what's going on. So that one's a bit more more like sinister, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
Total creepy. Um, all right, we're to number 3, aren't we?
top three.
So
That's good.
my third one is called Once Upon a Time. It's from season 3. I picked a lot from season 3, it seems like.
Okay,
Season 3, episode 13. This is the one with Buster
this is
Keaton,
the Buster Keaton one, right? Yeah.
which I absolutely loved. So, um, he it's a silent movie, basically, starring Buster Keaton,
Well, parts of it,
um,
yeah.
and he it starts he lives in, I think it's like 1890, right, is the year,
Something
and
like that.
then he ends up going into 1962, which is when this episode was made, um, courtesy of his employer's time machine helmet. And so it's honestly, it's just like this, it's like this ode to Buster Keaton movies starring Buster Keaton himself.
Yes, I mean,
It's all silent, isn't it? Even, or does it? No, sound comes on when they go to
yeah.
1962, right?
That's about to say that when they come to 1962, we
Yeah,
actually hear it. We
yeah.
actually
We
hear dialogue,
there's
so we
sound.
hear Buster Keaton talk.
Yeah, but when it begins, set in the late 1800s,
Yeah, that
they
was
have
done like this.
and they have like the words on the screen and stuff, and those
Mhm.
cards that for the dialogue and stuff. And
Mhm.
again, I thought it was wildly creative, and I guess anything with Buster Keaton in it, I just kind of instantly like. I thought it was so cool that they did a Twilight Zone episode with him in it. Who knew?
And that was really that was the best part of that episode. Like just the bit they just want to pay tribute to the guy and
Yeah,
like
yeah, it
have him
really
play.
was a tribute to him, and
Yeah,
he aced it too. I just I thought he was great, and it was just an really interesting episode
no,
too.
it definitely was.
Yeah. All right, what do you have at 3?
Excuse me. My number three is so it's another one from season four. Again, like I said, most of the season four is pretty bad, but the ones that are good I really like. And this is one of them, episode 17. This is called Passage on the Lady Anne. This one is there's a married couple. The woman is played by the wife's played by Joyce Van Patten, and the husband by I think Lee Phillips. Basically, they're a married couple, but their marriage is kind of struggling. They're not as in love with each other as before, so they decided to go take like a a, a cruise, like a ocean liner cruise to like rekindle their love. But they get booked on like this cruise, which is like it's only old people on this, including like Alan Napier, Wilfred Hyde White, and Cecil Kellaway, which I mentioned in a previous episode. So and these old people they don't want those two on the boat, and they won't tell them why. But long story short, they end up having to take them on the boat. But basically throughout this whole episode, this one's not really a scary one. This one is like more about the husband realizes just how much his wife means to him, and like because he's just been busy with work and all that, and they kind of rekindle the love that they had. So I really like the romance episodes a lot in the Twilight Zone, and this is one of them. And basically, the twist in this is like this cruise liner pretty much represents death. So like all these old people,
Okay,
like they're going away to like to like die
like they're
peacefully.
going to die, or have they already? I have not seen this one. Have they already died?
No, they
Or
haven't
is
died yet, but it's like
okay,
it's kind of like death on a boat. Like they're going out to sea, and I guess it represents death
interesting.
taking them. So that's
Yeah,
why they didn't want those two on the boat because like no, you guys are young. We're not here.
then
We don't
they're
need you.
too young. Yeah,
Yeah. So in the end, I think they tell them the truth, and then they leave the couple. They leave them off in like a lifeboat because they know someone will pick them up after, and then they go
Oh,
on
okay. So they end
like
up not going
schooling.
on the death cruise, the
Right.
cruise, the
It's not.
eternal reward.
It's not as dark as I'm making it out to be. It's one of the more like wistful and romantic episodes. So I liked it.
Oh, nice. Because again, from the ones that I saw, Mark, there's those that kind of stuff is kind of few and far between, isn't it? Of like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
real romantic.
correct.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, there's not many romantic ones, but I tend to like those ones though. So
nice, nice. Well, that one sounds good too. Again, and probably a good use of that hour-long format, right?
oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so, Mark, my number two is Living Doll. uh,
Okay,
with Talkie Tina.
talking Tina.
I I don't know why. I think this is one I had actually seen in the past or was familiar with.
Okay,
Um, because I know that it's kind of a like there's Chucky and these other tropes that we have, that are these dolls that come to life and that will kill you.
correct.
Uh, and Talkie Tina is so this young girl, I think her name's Christy. She gets this talking doll, and I know that there was a talking doll of the day. It was called Chatty Cathy.
Okay, okay.
I don't think I've ever seen one, but I know I saw like some news story or something about it, or talked to a relative who had a Chatty Cathy doll. But Talkie Tina actually is a doll that comes to life, and so this young girl who owns the doll, she has a really icky stepfather who's just super mean to his wife, to this girl's mother, and then to this little girl.
And
And
he's played by Savalas, right?
Teddy Savalas, yes, which was awesome. Teddy Savalas he's this absolute jerk.
Mhm.
But yeah, this doll, instead of just saying like little things like "I love you," whatever, but she says things like "I hate you" and "I'm
Yeah,
going to kill you." And if I remember correctly, she does. I think she does kill Telly Savalas at the end,
I
and then
think so.
the mom and the girl, are able to kind of be freed of this horrible man. But I don't know what it was about it, Mark, but I just absolutely loved this creepo doll that that gets revenge for her little child owner.
No, no.
Uh,
Again, it's one of those that I like. I like the premise more than the execution.
yeah, then the actual execution of it, yeah. I guess for me it was just the combination of Telly Savalas
No, no, that
and
was cool.
the talkie and then this just absolutely creepy talking doll. Um, and I don't like Chucky movies. I probably don't even think I've ever seen one
I
all the
never.
way through.
I wouldn't see one. It's a little too.
Yeah, it's just like it's not my thing by any means. But I don't know. This one just really worked for me.
Because again,
Go figure. It's just just me being just kind of sick in the brain.
yeah.
But
No, no,
what's
no.
your number two?
I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, my number two. Again, this is my last one from season four. I promise. So this is season four, episode one, in his image. So this one is about there's a man who basically he's in love with this woman and he wants to marry her, and so he wants to take him to his hometown to meet his family, but basically nothing is as he remembers it. Like every all the memories he has about this
Oh, I saw
place
this one. Yeah,
is
like he
very.
goes to the house where he like supposedly grew up, right?
Yeah.
And aren't there strangers living in the house? And
Yeah, so nothing makes sense, and like
yeah,
everyone, everywhere he expects something to be, it's not there, or people to know him, or they don't really know, or like all his memories are just wrong, and he tries to figure out what's going on. And this is, the first episode of season four. So this, like you, when I watched this, I was like, wait a minute, this is going on longer than half an hour. And then once,
right. Like what's happening? I'm in the Twilight Zone.
but yeah, pretty pretty much. But I really like this episode. Basically, what happens is he turns out he's actually not a man; he's a robot that was built.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, he's a robot. Okay.
he was built by the real him, and he was sent to, I forget why exactly, but he was sent to like live his life in the city or whatever. In the end, there's a big fight between the two of them, and uh, one of them gets killed, and I think it's the I
It's the
forget which.
human, isn't it, that gets killed, or is it the robot? I can't.
I can't remember. One of them gets killed, and the other one goes back to to be with the fiance. No, no, okay, no. The robot gets killed. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page just to verify. The
Oh,
robot
good.
gets
Okay,
killed.
yeah, because I can't remember specifically how it ended.
And the real one goes back. But remember, the real person, he's never actually met this fiance before. Uh,
Oh,
he
right. Okay,
goes back
it's
to
just the
yeah,
robot. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah. Anyway, I just like the suspense and the mystery of it all,
yeah,
and
and a high concept. You know, it's
I
such an interesting idea.
and George Grizzard and Gail Kobe. I really like their love story too, even though he was a robot, but still, but she didn't know
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah, that was an interesting one, wasn't it? Yeah.
it was-
Okay. Good call. Um, and another one of those again that when they delivered on the hour-long format, they delivered, and then if they didn't, it was kind of a slog.
yeah, so
Um,
those three were really the only three I liked in
yeah,
season
that you
four, and
really
I liked
liked.
them a lot. Like I said, but the rest of the episode of season four, yeah, we could do without.
Right. So yeah, beware if you're trying to tackle all the Twilight Zone episodes. Yeah, the season four,
Four,
these
yes.
episodes are longer. Well, Mark, my number one, and
Here we
again,
go.
we've talked about this, but it's Nightmare at 20,000 Feet.
Oh, I
I was
forgot we
very
talked about that.
I was
Yes.
very familiar with it. I had seen this one before, and then also and I couldn't remember, that was the one that they used, one of the stories they used for the 1983 movie. But maybe just because I'm just familiar with William Shatner too, from Star Trek and all the other stuff. But I this one I just loved, directed by Richard Donner, as
Yes.
as we talked about, and I think, and I didn't know that until I saw the credits, uh, and I just thought it was so expertly crafted, classic. I think I just thought it really fit the structure of the Twilight Zone show. As far as just like the scary part, how it's creepy and scary, but also relatable because instantly you find out what's going on with this William Shatner character, as I mentioned, which again I thought was interesting that they eliminated it from the movie, but that he had he was with his wife who's bringing him home from after trying to get healed from having a real mental breakdown. Um,
Yes.
but anyway, super scary, and but I love it. I just think it's just kind of Twilight Zone at its best, in my opinion.
No, it's one that's famous for a reason. Again, it's another one. I think premise is more better than execution, but
Yeah, no, it's right. So I'm anxious to hear what your number one is, Mark. What's
one
your
thing I'm
what's the, or go ahead, please.
one thing I like about top 10 and 13 lists or whatever, especially what we've shown today, is like you and I have none of the same on on our top 13 at
It's
all.
true. We didn't have one that was the same, did
No,
we?
not a single one, which I love. I like the idea. I like,
Yeah, yeah.
we all have such different tastes. So
Different
yeah,
tastes and things that we enjoyed,
so
and
your listeners are getting the plots for 26 different
that's right,
episodes from
26 plus the movie.
yeah. So my number one, uh, as soon as I saw this one, I knew this was my gonna be a favorite and a hard one to beat. This is season one, episode 11. This is And When the Sky Was Opened. This is one where I never felt dread in my life until I saw this episode. I've seen mysteries, I've watched psychological thrillers, I've even seen some horror and sci-fi. Nothing made me feel the way this episode made me feel, where was at the edge of my seat and I felt literal dread, like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen, or I just was just so scared of what was gonna happen. And this is episode with actor, what's his name, Rod Taylor, who voices Pongo in 101 Dalmatians. So basically, he's they're like a U.S. Air Force. He goes to meet his co-pilot, who's recovering from injury or something, and
Oh, is
basically,
this the one where there was like three of them, but
correct,
oh yeah,
yes.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to give it away, but yeah.
No,
I did
that's
see this one. It was cool, and yeah, like kind of mind blowing.
blown. Yeah, basically, uh, he's talking to his buddy about, there actually were three of us, but you don't remember. And the brother's like, okay, come on, you're just playing with me now. But basically, he tells a story. There were three, these three pilots. They did, some mission or whatever, but one of them, little by little, like he just disappeared. He just disappeared from existence, and everyone who remembered him didn't remember him anymore. Any sort of sign that he ever lived was gone. And Rod Taylor's like kind of breaking down, trying to figure out what's happening. Why can no one remember this? My friend who just disappeared. So now basically he's going to his other friend and telling him this story, and of course that guy doesn't believe him. He thinks that Rod Taylor's having a breakdown. But then Rod Taylor just disappears from existence, and then the friend realizes, oh my gosh, he's right. Everything he said was true. And when he's trying to talk to people about Rod Taylor, no one could remember who Rod Taylor was. And then finally, he just disappears from existence, and no one in this hospital or the world can remember that these three people ever existed or did anything or in life or anything like that. So to me, just that idea of just like disappearing completely, like I think that's where I got the dread from. So I was like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen next? There's no trace of these guys ever. So yeah, this is my favorite episode of the Twilight Zone.
I can understand why you like it so much, Mark, because I remember being impressed with it too, and thinking that again, all the actors are really good. Rod Taylor's great in it, right? And again, just these stories that are relatable yet just kind of terrifying, right? And maybe that's one of the things that's interesting is it kind of taps into like almost like a primal fear maybe that just humans have generally on certain with certain subject matters, but also told in a way, in this mysterious way, and then the end happens, and you're like, oh my goodness, that's so crazy. you know I don't think I couldn't figure out what was going to happen with that one, and then of course it ends and you're like, oh my goodness, that's just wow.
It's
That's a
just
good one.
it's not like a twist one ending. It's more of a like, oh my gosh, so what's gonna happen next kind of thing.
Yes, yeah, perfect way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's mine. That's my number one.
Excellent. As you mentioned here, we 26 episodes of
Yeah,
this
yeah.
amazing show that
Not
neither
even
of us,
even, not even a single
I'm
one was.
glad I was able to at least have seen some of the ones, that you had picked,
I
because
think
that was
the closest one was I had, like I said, I had a World of His Own at 15, so
at
that
15.
almost
Yeah.
made it. But
Yeah.
besides that,
If you wouldn't mind just sharing just briefly, what were what did you have, like kind of like 14, 15, maybe 16? What were just some of those ones that almost made your top 13? But
yeah, top 20 if you want. But yeah, 14, I had Third from the Sun. This is, I think, season one, but it's like these people, they're living, they're living on this planet. I mean, they're humans, and
I
they're
saw that one.
they're
Yes.
escaping on a
Yes.
spacecraft to another planet, and because I forget why, but they go into a planet with people that look and sound like them. So you're thinking, oh, it's humans going to another planet, but
Yeah, it's
no.
like people leaving planet Earth to go someplace else.
Yeah, but no, they're leaving someplace else to come to planet
And they come
Earth.
to planet Earth.
So
That one was
that
cool.
one was good. That was 14.
Yeah,
And
okay. No, I can see why. That's a good one.
15 was A World of His Own. We talked about that. 16, I had Long Live Walter Jameson. Did you have that one? Excuse me. I think Kevin McCarthy was in that one. That was, it was about a guy named Walter Jameson who's pretty much been alive for 2,000 something years, but he still looks like he's only like a guy in his 40s or whatever. And basically, because he's been alive for so long, like he could talk about history stuff because he's actually lived it. And I forget what exactly happens. I think there's like someone who knows his secret and is trying to like kill him or whatever. But that was number 16. Um,
I
I
don't
think
think I saw that one.
that was either season one or season two. I can't remember. 17 is probably the other. I think we mentioned almost all the famous episodes of Twilight Zone except for this one. And this one is A Stop at Willoughby. This one is about a man who's like tired of the modern world, and he dreams up this like quaint 1880s kind of town called Willoughby. And every time he's on the train, he ends up transported there, and he enjoys it. But he ends up dying, and basically what the twist is I think Willoughby was the name of like the funeral, like parlor. But in his mind, Willoughby was like this other 1880s kind of world where it wasn't so modern and like hustle bustle and all that.
Interesting. I don't think I saw that one.
Like I think you should, I would recommend that one just
Yeah, well,
because.
definitely one to check out. Yeah.
Yeah,
What season
just
is
because.
that in?
Let me check, but I think season one. But let me check. Those the four that we mentioned, I think, are like first season one, episode 30. So those four are like the that this to serve man, nightmare at 20,000 feet, and uh, time enough at last, and it's a good life. I think those five are like the most famous Twilight Zone episodes. So
Okay.
check it out. But yeah. So I have more, but I mean I have all 156.
Well, I was going to say you've got this giant list, which is just fantastic that you ranked them, Mark. That's impressive. Now,
If you had watched all episodes, I would have said let's do a top 13 least favorite as well. That'd be interesting. But
yeah,
I,
that would be interesting because I know I had some least favorites, but I feel like I couldn't really safely say it just because there's so many that I still need,
exactly. Yeah.
or that I haven't watched. Mark, just briefly, what about some actors that of episodes that we didn't necessarily talk about, but like famous actors? Now we had mentioned that were in the Twilight Zone episodes.
Yeah.
I know we mentioned Robert Redford.
Renfrew was in one episode. He
That
played
was a
Death.
really good one. I believe he was. I think Gladys Cooper was in that one
It was
too.
either her or Helen Hayes, or like someone
Yeah.
big.
Oh, I think no, it was Helen Hayes. Yeah, it was Helen Hayes.
Oh, okay.
Um, was Gladys Cooper in one too? I can't remember. She was like she
I
was
don't
in it.
remember.
I don't remember, but I'm getting her confused with Helen Hayes. I thought that was actually a very good episode. Really
I think
dramatic.
Robert Redford said like people still like ask him about that. Still.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
This woman lives alone and she's all super paranoid about, stuff. And this injured man but it turns out comes in, she has to take him in. He's like been shot or something, but it turns out that it's
She's
her.
always had a fear of death in particular.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That it's her deceased son who's come to take her, to the other side. So it's kind of sweet, but it's kind of creepy, like Twilight Zone. Right?
Was it her son? I don't remember that part.
It was her deceased son. I mean,
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
I mean, they didn't just like do like necessarily a big reveal,
Yeah.
but you learn like her son was killed like in the line of duty or
Oh,
something,
okay.
and there was stuff that just like, I mean, I guess maybe I'm jumping to conclusions, but I think, oh, that had to have been her dead son, who was coming to take her, um, but anyway, I thought that was cool one. But yeah, what other actors that we know from TV and movies
Yeah, there's a
that we
lot.
haven't
Like,
really talked about that you can think off the top of your head?
well, we mentioned William Shatner. But he also had one more episode which we didn't talk about. I forget the name of that episode. But basically,
Oh, he was in another Twilight Zone
he was
episode, right?
yes, he was in two. I forget the name of that episode, but that episode basically he's with his wife, and they're like his car needs to be fixed, so they stop at this diner, to eat while they wait for the car to be fixed. And the diner has like one of these like fortune telling like toy kind of things. So he ends up starting to play with it, and every time you pay money, you get like a fortune. But basically, the fortune it starts telling him stuff like, don't go on the trip or stuff like that, and he starts to base his life based on make decisions based on what this toy is telling him, and his wife is trying to get him to like snap out of it, or if you're gonna like to keep your whole life is you're going to use this fortune telling thing to make choices, and they're going to be wrong choices too. So yeah, that's another episode that he was in, and they actually whoever played his wife, I forget, they wanted her to play his wife in the Nightmare episode again, but like they couldn't get her for shootability or something.
Oh, interesting. That would be cool.
So he was in
Yeah, this is what
Burgess Meredith.
else? Can you think of anybody else who that just again comes to mind that?
I think we mentioned Burgess Meredith. He was in four. There were a couple of
Okay,
actors in four episodes. There was there's like two other actors who appeared in four episodes each. But I have their names are just escaping me now. But yeah, other big actors. James Best was in like three episodes.
okay.
I can't like think off the top of my head. Vera Miles, we mentioned her.
Vera
She was
Miles, yeah, she's good.
um,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't think off the top of my head, but we mentioned Buster Keaton.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, there's one episode with gosh, what's his name? Andy, not Andy. Andy Devine.
Oh,
He's
Andy Devine. Yes, yes, yes. I saw that one too with Andy Devine. That one cracked me up.
okay. Yeah,
Just because
basically, he's just like a guy who just makes up stories
he
and lies.
plays like this serial liar, doesn't he? Doesn't he, or something? I can't.
I love that one. That was nice.
Yeah, that one was fun, and I just love Andy Devine.
Yes, I love him in anything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, same.
Oh, Art Carney was an episode as
Art
Santa Claus.
Carney. Yeah,
Um, uh, who else? We mentioned Roddy McDowell. Uh, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot more, but I can't think of them at the
nothing
moment.
that you can just just think. Well, Mark, overall, then what? Uh,
Oh, Charles Bronson was in one episode.
Oh, okay. I think I saw that one. Yeah, with Charles Bronson. Was that another outer space one? I can't remember. Were they astronauts? I can't
I
remember.
can't remember exactly, but yeah.
I get confused.
Oh, and the actor from Star Trek, the Asian person, I forget his name.
Oh, yeah, who played Mr. Sulu?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's his name? Gosh.
George Takei.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
You listen to this, sir. I'm sorry, but I forget it. Yeah,
uh,
he was in
well,
one.
what were your main takeaways from what after you saw all 156 episodes of the Twilight Zone and the Twilight Zone movie? Did you have kind of like a major takeaway of this series or this type of storytelling? I know we've kind of hit some of it, but what's your kind of your the big thing that you came away with after finishing all of seeing all these episodes?
I think the biggest thing is just how the production quality and the story writing of each episode was, and it made me realize the power in anthology. I never really cared much about like anthology books or anthology shows or anything like that. I never really thought about it really, but this made me realize like just how cool of an idea that is, and just how hard of an idea it is to like be 156 different stories you have to write with that are related to each other, and kind of make them have a similar like vibe to them. I think that was the biggest thing that I came away with, just like the how hard it is to like write these stories and film it,
Yeah.
and for an anthology.
Do you feel like this was a kind of a golden age of television? I mean, or like kind of an extra special time, in television production?
I
Or,
think so. Like, I feel from the 50s to 60s or 70s. I think those were like, especially the 60s. I would say is like that was like just a golden peak in terms of writing and product quality and all that. I feel like now we don't really have that, and it's more the quality has really gone down.
yeah, again, I'm not a huge television consumer,
Mm,
but I, as we've just already discussed, I was so impressed
mm,
with the quality of these Twilight Zone episodes. And again, from being just kind of creeped out as a child by them, but to seeing it through more adult and experienced eyes, just to really appreciate
mm.
the quality of these. And again, I just thought these were mini movies, in so many ways, but in like the best sense of the word.
Yeah.
Uh,
The next closest thing I could think of that not it's a total different genre, but it's I'm a big fan of Poirot, Agatha Christie's Poirot, and
yes,
yes, and I've seen every episode of the show that they have based on the Poirot books,
yeah,
and
the Pluribus, the one that plays on PBS.
yes, and with David Suchet as
David
Poirot.
Suchet, yes.
So I've seen
Oh,
every
he's
episode
good.
of it, and actually recently did a uh, a run through of all the episodes again for the first time in like a long time. So every episode of that made me feel like its own movie. I mean, some of them were. I mean, they were like an hour and a half long. But I mean, my point is like they're all different stories, but each felt like its own thing. So that's kind of what Twilight Zone reminded me of too.
With Poirot, how many seasons does that run? Do you know?
Yeah,
Like, how many
yeah.
episodes do they make each season? Because it seems like that's been going on for quite a while, right?
It's over now. It ended in 2013. It was like it started like 1989, ended in 2013. So it was like 13 seasons, for 70 something episodes. But most of the seasons are like only 4 episodes long. It's like the first 3 seasons they adapt the Poirot short stories, so those episodes are like 50 minutes long. But then after that, they start to adapt the Poirot novels, so those are like full hour and a half episodes.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Interesting. Okay. But again, high quality,
Very high, yes.
yeah, great,
And
great experience
yeah,
watching
Agatha
watching
Christie's my
both.
favorite author, and I love her the Poirot books. I've read all of them, so I love the show too. So that was my last, most recent like a show that I was watching from beginning to end again.
Oh, excellent.
So
Well,
not that it has
have
anything
you
to do with Twilight Zone, but there we go.
you know, you've always got these cool projects going on, Mark, and before we wrap up, I would love you to again tell us more about your live action Disney project that you've got going on. Speaking of classic movies, tell us a little bit if you could just tell our audience what you're doing with that, because I just think that's so cool. That's just what I think one of the ways where how we met, right? Was I know through my writing on animation fascination, but also just the cool work that you're doing with your Disney live action
Yeah,
project.
so yeah, I run two blogs. One of them is called Animation Competition, where it's very animation based. I have my own game show on that's animation related, and I try to review certain animated movies and stuff, and I have like top 13 list. So that's where the number 13 came from for our episode today. But yeah, my other blog is the My Live Action Disney Project, where my goal is to try to watch and review every single theatrically released, well, now theatrically released plus Disney Plus released, Disney film ever made. Um, Again, these are only the ones that are just Walt Disney productions, so nothing that uh, like a Marvel or Star Wars film, nothing that's a documentary, and nothing that's like Touchstone Pictures, something like that. Just something that's purely produced or at least co-produced by Walt Disney Pictures. So I've been doing that for like about, I think I passed my 11th anniversary recently. So
Yeah.
11 years,
Well,
and
congrats on that. That's so cool that you've been doing. Now, how far are you along in the process, Mark? That's
I don't actually have like a list where I'm like checking them off, so I don't really know. But I mean, it's a lot, because
yeah, you've been doing a lot.
I divide them into two categories: 80s and back, and then 90s to present. So from 80s to back, I think I don't think I have more than 20 more left. Because I don't go in order. I just kind of like go with whatever I have
Yeah,
available.
how do you pick which one you're gonna watch?
Really, it's just what I have available. So
You have
like,
available, kind of whatever you're in the mood for.
like before
Uh,
Disney Plus was around, basically all my movies I would get from the library for free. So it would be whatever I find in the library that day that's for free.
yeah,
I was like, oh,
yeah.
okay, today it's Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton version.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, and are you having luck with finding titles on Disney Plus? Because again, I haven't tried to find a lot of vintage live action Disney titles on Disney Plus. I've watched plenty of animation, that they've got
Yeah.
on Disney Plus, but yeah, how's that going? Have you been able to find stuff that you can watch that you haven't already seen?
No, and actually no, because now I've gotten to the point where it's like, I've pretty much seen almost everything I have in my local library and whatever it's on Disney Plus, everything. So now it's getting harder to find films because I don't want to spend money and actually buy any. So I'm trying to find,
Sure. No, that's
where I
smart.
can
Yeah.
for free online. So now I found I found a couple on the archives website, um, the U.S. They have the National Archives website where
Oh yeah.
people put videos sometimes. So there's some I've actually watched on that, and then there's some people post on YouTube, which helps too. But yeah. Yeah, because I've seen a lot. I've done a lot of them already. So now it's mostly like the lesser known ones and stuff that are harder to find. So Yeah,
Well,
Disney Plus, when it came out, we Disney fans thought it would be like, the entire Disney library
like
at our
all
fingertips.
Disney, yeah,
No.
but no, it's not really. That's what I've wondered, just because again, I haven't really tried that hard, but I just maybe just kind of in the back of my mind thinking, oh, they're not going to have the Boatniks or some stuff. It's just kind of like random, 1970s live action comedy out there, but maybe they have some of them.
And then now with the what was I gonna say? Uh, sorry, I lost my my thought. What I
Oh,
was
you're
gonna say.
good.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing too, that one of the many things I admire about your work as well, Mark, is the really impressive ranking system that you've got. Because I typically just throw like a 1 to 5 stars for your
Yeah.
review on anything that I'm reviewing, but you've got this really great matrix that I feel like you can give a much more like scientific answer. But it's really complete. Tell us a little bit again about the process of how you rank these films.
So how this came about is I never considered myself an actual film critic. Like I feel I'm not good enough to actually criticize a film well in terms of, what exactly if I think a film is wrong, what exactly is wrong? Is it the acting? Is it the writing? What about the writing is wrong? So I don't really consider, even up to today, I don't consider myself a film critic because of that. So when I started this blog, I figured, well, I need to have some way to give these grades instead of, it will just be like me saying, no, the film is good or bad, and then I don't know, how to grade them. So I had to make a grading rubric based on stuff that I thought was important for a film. So like basically there's like a couple of categories and each one is ranked between 0 and 5. And so some of them is like, how many of the actors in the film would I commend, or how would I treat the writer or director of this film, and it goes from stuff like I would invest in their next movie, that's the highest one, or I would, buy them a milkshake, that's the second highest one, or I would smile at them from afar, that's the third highest one, and so on until you get to like, I wouldn't want to associate with them or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And and there's other categories like, how soon would I rewatch this movie, or like how should I see this movie? This movie you should see in the theater on the opening weekend, or is this movie you should see on the theater like maybe later on, but not the opening weekend? Is this a movie you should see on DVD? Is it a movie you should just wait till it's on TV? Is it a movie to see when you're at a friend's house or whatever? So basically, I just came up with like 7 random categories that to me made sense, and that's how I fill them out and I get grades from them. So for the most part, I like it, but sometimes it can backfire. Like my most infamous one, which our mutual friend Rachel Wagner still holds me to it, is because I was still new to the rubric. I don't think I didn't really know how to manage it well at the time, but I gave Pollyanna. And Pollyanna ended up getting an F um, from my rubric. That's a film that I feel if I rewatched and re-ranked, it
And
would,
re-ranked,
be
yeah.
higher. But
'Cause
I don't have time to
I I
rewatch
don't
it.
really love I don't really love Pollyanna myself, but I know that amongst Disney fans is highly regarded, right? Everybody loves
Yeah,
Haley Mills and
exactly. Yeah.
Jane Wyman and just the whole story. I
So
was I never could get over the fact that she fell off the roof, you know. But
I don't even remember that. So
I'll be grateful. But well, this has been so much fun, Mark. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Now, where can people find you on your social media and your other cool content?
well, thank you, Stanford, for doing this with me. I've been so excited to actually talk with you about the Twilight Zone for so long. I'm glad we're actually able to
I
finally
know
be
we're
able
glad
to
we
make
finally
it
were able to
happen.
do it. Thanks again for your patience with me as I was trying to get through more episodes so I
If
could
you
talk
ever
with you.
if you ever finish the watching all the episodes, and we could, if you want to do another episode for our top 13 least
Right.
favorites,
Well,
I'll
we
be
could
down.
do our bottom 13, which should really be fun. I'm very anxious to hear what
So
your
I
bottom 13
had a
are.
wonderful time. I always enjoyed talking with you about this, and yeah, you guys could check
Yeah.
me out in my blogs. You could check the animationaccommodation.com as well as my live action Disney project.com.
I'll have links to this in the podcast notes on my website too. But huge thanks to you, Mark. This has been a blast. Thanks so much. And really, everybody, if you got Paramount Plus, you should check out some Twilight Zone. I can't say I would recommend that 1983 movie, but definitely the TV episodes are really something. Well, that does it for this episode of the Movies Past and Present podcast. Again, huge thanks to Mark Brown for joining me. Links and more information about where to find Mark's content, along with the items discussed in today's podcast, can be found in the podcast notes on my website at moviespastandpresent.com. Subscribe to the podcast where you listen to podcasts, and follow me and send me messages on Instagram. My handle is @moviespap, as in past and present. As always, I hope you will enjoy some good movies this week, whether they be from the past or the present. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, be safe out there and dedicate yourself to the truth.